What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special interview episode of HCS Pro Talk, your weekly Halo esports podcast. And for this very special interview episode, we're joined by none other than one of the most prolific professional Halo players of all time. He is a former Competitive Insights team member of 343 Industries. He's a professional Halo player for now Native White. Plays second at the 2017 Halo World Championship, and he's ranked 22nd on the top 25 Halo players list. It's Austin Mikwen McCleary. Mikwin, how the fuck are you doing?
I'm doing really good. How are you guys?
I'm doing great.
I'm nervous.
Nervous?
But on the surface, I was calm and ready.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Right. I like that.
Thank you. No, I'm doing great. Really excited to talk to you. This was in the works for a little while, and what I found fucking hilarious before we're here today, obviously, is that you did say at Worlds, give me a little bit of time, and maybe like hopefully sometime in January. And I'm like, okay, I'll just pocket that and move on, like not thinking much of it, you know. And then this motherfucker decides to just tweet at us like, hey, are we gonna do this thing? Like, oh, thanks.
Oh no, I remembered. I was like super excited to do it. I just knew, like, kind of stuff was gonna be crazy. Like, I just knew that it was gonna be crazy. I knew there was like gonna be like. There was going to be like a lot of shift. At first I thought there wasn't going to be much. And then, cause I like heard rumors, I was like, there's just no way. So, yeah, I'm glad I said the January thing. I hedged my bet with that. Cause I was like, I wanted to sit there and say like, I can probably do like early December. I'll probably have the team ready by December. And I was thinking about it. I was like, there's just no way. Like, cause even if I have it ready by December, it's like, it'll be close to holidays. Yeah. And like, so I was like, probably January? Yeah, we'll be good.
And then literally the announcement takes place like last week. So, you know, it worked out perfectly.
My foresight was correct.
Yo, it was spot fucking on. Now, we will ask about the roster stuff later, and feel free to talk about as much or as little as you want to regards to that. But let's start off easy here. This may be self-explanatory, but I feel like it needs asking. Where did the name Mikwin come from?
Okay, so very few people actually know the full story. So my dad is like a huge gamer, and he's actually the one that like got me into all this. Like, I was into video games obviously because my dad was, so him and I would connect over that. But he's the one that like told me that it was going to be like a sport one day, and I looked at him like, "When the hell are you talking about, dude?" I was probably like 8, 9, but so him and I played a lot of like MMOs growing up together. So like I played like a lot of EverQuest, like Jedi or Star Wars Galaxies with him. Asheron's Call, like a bunch of really weird, obscure MMOs in the early 2000s, and one of them that we played was Dark Age of Camelot. And him and I were like big Lord of the Ring like fans, and like read the books together and stuff. And we were always like fans of elves. So he made a character named Milwyn. Well, actually, there's a discrepancy here. He says it was Mirwin. I say it's Milwyn because I remember this so vividly because it was a huge moment. If you look at your keyboard, his name was Milwen, and I just deleted the L and put the K, because it was right next to it, and that's what it was. So, and it just stuck. It just has been like that ever since. I had like other MMO names for like dwarves and shit that were always like themed. Like the dwarf's name was Geekide and stuff like this. But like, yeah, Mikwin was the one that like stuck. It became like my gamer tag on Xbox Live when it came out. My character's name on Sega Dreamcast and Phantasy Star Online was Mikwin. And then I shelved it for a little bit. I was GIXX No Scope XX for like 2 years, and then I switched back to Mikwen. But yeah, comes from my dad. He's the guy that because Dark Age of Camelot had family trees. Oh. So like he could be my dad in game, and elves always like keep their surname, which is like the Win, right? So like that's we're the Lord of the Rings nerds. And then I found out that Win means fair maiden, but whatever.
Well, you're also a big Lord of the Rings nerd, Will, aren't you?
Probably not as big as that, but yeah, I'm definitely into it. So that's awesome. That is awesome.
We're big elf fans.
Also, I love how the story transitions from, oh, this is a very heartfelt story about my dad, to him typing it out on a keyboard to you just transitioning one letter over because it's easier to type. Like, awesome.
I was like, I'm trying to think. So Dark Age of Camelot probably came out like 2001, 2002.
Okay.
So I was like 8 or 9. It's kind of the same story of like him when he told me that games were going to be a sport one day because he was like following Fatality and like Painkiller and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So he had the the correct insight there. But yeah, it's pretty basic how I got it, but I've had it ever since. It's just stuck.
That's amazing. And I love how you went through your like puberty phase of having XX in your name as well. And changing that
of course.
too.
And I was a part of like a stupid Halo 2 clan. Like but I didn't want to be on KSI. So I joined GI because they had a pro team. And I was like, yeah, GI is cooler than KSI, but it was all fucking lame. Like
I love this.
That's awesome.
I love every second of this. Now, we're obviously I'm going to get to the beanie in a second because that's kind of iconic. And obviously you're wearing one right now because why wouldn't you be? But speaking of your dad, you have an incredible story, like you mentioned, when it comes to your introduction to Halo, including your father doing something we always dreamed our parents would do when we were kids. So what is your Halo origin story? And I believe you're going to mention it, so I'll just ask as well. How did you practice in CE to eventually overtake the skill of your dad and uncle?
Okay, so my dad was like, he spoiled the shit out of me because I was an only child. So like anytime a new console came out, we would get it. I referenced, I brought up like the Dreamcast. Like we had the Dreamcast. Like I remember having like turbo graphics. Like he built me like this really nice PC because I played a lot of Warcraft 3. And one day, like he called, like I'm at school. So I would have been in first grade. The good thing with my grades is that I finished school 2012.
Okay.
And that was like, so if it's 2001, I was in first grade. If it's 2002, I was in second grade. If I'm 2000, so I can actually remember this stuff really easily.
That's awesome.
So it was first grade, and I went to like a charter academy, and they had me like it was like stupid, but he pulled me out of school, and we were like in his green pickup truck, and we get to the house, and I'm like, what's going on? And he pulls out the Xbox, and I didn't even know what it was. I was like, what's this? He said, this is Microsoft's new console, and he's like, in this game, and he pointed at Halo as the game that everybody likes. I was like hyping up and saying it's amazing. So we sat down, him and I played it like through the campaign together, split screen. I think in one night. It was easy, but like we just played it. We played it on easy together, and yeah. So my dad's a twin. So my uncle has a son my age, and then they also have a sister who has a son that's my age. So those were basically like my brothers growing up because I was an only child, and so was my cousin Kyler. Brandon had 3 sisters. He didn't get a brother until he was like almost 20. So we were like, thick as thieves. And we would play like NFL Fever and Mech Assault and Whacked and all this stuff on the Xbox. But like whenever my dad and my uncle wanted to play Halo CE, like they'd just like stomp us. But my cousin Brandon took kind of had like the natural talent that I had for video games. And him and I started like playing against one another. And then we started like 2v2ing like his friends from his school because he went to a different school. And just like started owning them. And then, then we were able to beat my dad and my uncle. But I say this, like, we were not playing competitive C. It was like Sidewinder 2v2s with AR starts. Like, we were shooting our ARs across the map. Like, we had no idea how to actually play. And then I actually, like, C was like, I liked it and then we would play that, but I was still like addicted to Warcraft 3. Like, I played Warcraft 3 pretty much like, I would get home from school and like play it until I go to bed, basically. And Halo 2 comes out. He lets me take the day off so we can play Halo 2 because it's such a big deal because it's online and they have all this stuff and kind of that revolutionary moment. And we sat down to play it. I played one game. It was Headlong Bomb BTB, and I got mad and got back on Warcraft 3 for like 4 hours. and then I was like, that's stupid. And then I saw him playing like 4v4, not 8v8, and I was like, wait, you can play 4v4? He goes, yeah. And then I played 4v4. My first game was on Lockout and 4v4, and I picked up the sword, which in CE, when me and my cousin would play, we were always like, dude, the sword would be the sickest weapon to use ever. So I picked up the sword right away on Lockout, and then I was addicted at that moment. And then my dad told me that it would be a sport. I didn't believe him, and then next thing I know, he booked a trip to Chicago 2006 to let me play in the FFA. And we went to Chicago 2006, and I played in the FFA, and that's, how it all started.
History.
Yeah.
Your dad's fucking awesome. Like,
yeah, he's a big gamer. He loves it.
Oh, he's fucking awesome. Like,
he called me at 5 o'clock in the morning the other day, and he was like, yo, can you help me get this gun in Destiny? I'm like, dude, it's 5 a.m. He goes, I figured it'd be a good time to call you, because he gets up early and I'm up late. I was like, I just got in bed, man. I'm down to do it tomorrow, though. But then he texted me at like 6:30. He's like, got it anyways without you. So,
what gun was it?
Revision 0. That is the new Pulse Carbine. Yeah.
God, your dad's fucking awesome. Holy shit. Does he ever come out to events?
He hasn't been to one in a really long time. He hasn't been to one since Dallas 2011.
Is he going to be at Charlotte?
Probably not. No.
It's your return.
Yeah, I know. He's bummed about it, but he's got real life stuff he's got to focus on. So my mom might make an appearance, but she's going through some stuff right now too. So I don't know. We'll see. Me and my girlfriend. I got Carly. I always got Carly, so
awesome.
She's coming.
Awesome. Will, I'm gonna let you take the beanie question. Go for it.
So, what is the origin of wearing the iconic beanie?
So I'm trying to think exactly. So I was a big Viva La Bam fan. Like I was a big Bam Margera fan. I'd always wear the beanies with the brims.
Great show. Holy shit.
Yeah, no, I just rewatched it like a couple months ago. Actually, it still holds up. It's so fucking funny. But
so good.
My aunt was really big. So my aunt, I say aunt, and you would think that she's like 10 years older than me. My aunt's like only like 5-6 years older than me. So she was kind of like my big sister growing up, and she was really into like the whole like that like alternative scene and got me into like Bam and like the music that I like and everything. So I started wearing like the beanies with the brims, and then, but I would take them off to game. But I'd wear it all the time, like pretty much like 24/7. I'd sleep without it and then game without it.
Yeah.
And then as I started growing out my hair would become like a big problem, and I'd have to like tuck it behind my ears. So I started putting it up into the beanie and putting the beanie on, and then like pulling the beanie back so that my ears could still be on the, or like the headset could go over the ear cups. And then I played a tournament with it on, and like absolutely felt like I played really well. And then since then it was like one of those things that like I have to have it on. And now I'm to the point where it's like if I don't have it on, I feel like pretty much naked. Because I game so much, and I was wearing them so much outside of gaming that it just like kind of crossed over and became a thing.
I was gonna say, we see like you go back and watch old VODs and whatnot of you competing at a much younger age, and you're still just wearing one. It's like it's a constant thing.
So you can find MLG Columbus 2010. They did a Big Flex 4 like piece on me when I was 16.
Stop!
And you see my hair.
Stop! That's a question later. Hold it. Oh man, you're a Big Flex 4 champion. That's
yeah, online and LAN.
God damn! I went back and watched that. I'm like, this is the greatest thing ever. Because
we'll wait for that question, but that's a crazy moment in my career. That whole situation.
I'm so excited. What? Go ahead, Will.
All right. You kind of answered it. Do you ever take it off? Sleeping,
yeah, when I sleep.
That's about it.
You don't sleep with an
shower.
Yeah.
No. Shower, sleep. I'll take it off if I have to for like really like fancy stuff, like a wedding or something. But usually, like once the pictures end and like the recital, like it's the wedding's like over, we're instantly back on.
That's amazing. Do you just carry it like in your suit pocket or something? Just like
I put it in my back pocket. Yeah. I like roll it up, put it in my back pocket. Yeah.
Any other styles, or is it just the slouch beanie now?
Yeah, just the neffs. I don't even like the different colors. It's just black neffs.
Black neffs. There we go.
Just the slouch one. Yeah.
Have you ever thought about getting sponsored by them?
They don't do it. I've tried.
That's bullshit. What? That's fucking bullshit.
So Clayster and Cod, he was a big beanie guy too, and him and I have talked about it one day. Like, has Neff ever responded to you? He's like, no, they don't do it. And I was like, okay, if they don't do it for you, they're not gonna do it for me, because that guy has like 1 million followers on Twitter. So.
Well, damn.
We got one more there.
There's one more?
Yeah. I mean, you basically already answered it if it's a black one.
Favorite one, black Neff, right?
Any other favorites from the collection, or is it just the black Neff?
Just the black Neff. Any different color, I don't know. It doesn't work for me.
How many black Neffs do you have in your collection?
Like 20, 25.
Jesus Christ.
And then they usually after 6 washes, they're just torched. They're completely ruined. So then you just have to get new ones. So my grandma always gets me 5 every Christmas.
Still?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because I'll be done with 5 of them by Christmas. Oh, 5 of them will be ruined. I think I have one randomly back here that's it's all torn to shreds. You watch them, after you wash them 6, 7, 8 times, they're just chalked. Because they're not designed for you to wear all the time and wash all the time. They're designed to oh, I'm going skiing or snowboarding, or it's a fashion look this time. Yeah, they're not designed to be on your head all the time, but.
No, Mikwin's just getting sweaty playing Halo with Mom. Okay. let's get to the professional career here because you're pretty decorated. Let's just be honest. Okay. So I have a few highlights here, obviously, but then a couple potential lowlights because I want to highlight a couple things and I want to get your perspective on a couple losses that you had as well. Okay.
Yeah.
But let's start with the good. So how did it feel becoming an official Big Flex 4 FFA champion at MLG Raleigh 2010, competing against the likes of Hoaxer?
Yeah, so it goes a little bit further back than the Raleigh thing. So at the time, my mom was supporting me to take me to tournaments, and she was like, giving up a lot of extra cash to make it happen. And she told me that, like, I think I just turned 16. She's like, hey, you need to start like kind of figuring it out on your own. Like, I'll still help you get there and stuff and go with you, but I need help on like the hotel and that type of stuff. So I saw there's a Big Flex Online tournament, and I signed up for it. And if you win it, you get the full expense paid trip to the next tournament. So I signed up for it, and I had like never played FFA and Halo 3. I had like kind of just started playing Halo 3 again because I didn't play for like almost all of 08. And I played like here and there in 09, but like I just started actually like playing a good amount, and I won the Big Flex Online tourney somehow.
Oh man.
Got the sponsorship to go to Columbus. That's what they did, that little piece on me. And I placed second in that LAN FFA. But because I was a Big Flex 4 champ or whatever, they kind of like what's the word? They continue to pay for the, if you won the online one, then you get to go to the championship.
Okay.
So my Dallas trip was already paid for. So I was like, okay, wait, I'm going to go play in Raleigh since that event's already paid for, and then just play in the FFA and play with my team and stuff. And I played, and I ended up winning the Raleigh one. I don't even really remember that. I remember my controller was broken too. Like if I shook it, it would like disconnect, and it happened to me like in the middle of fights sometimes. But yeah, somehow I still won that. And that's when like I finally got some like confidence, I would say, because at the time, I just placed top 20 with like GMM the event before, and I was just still young. Like I didn't know how good I could or could not be. And then winning that, I was like, okay, wait a minute, I'm actually like better than most AMs, so that means something.
And you stole the beanie.
Yeah. That was the original beanie. That was the one.
The original?
That one. Yeah, so that was the one for my hair. My hair was so crazy long.
Yeah.
I had to go get one specifically that like was like huge. And that was the one that like started it all.
Oh man. And look where you are now.
I lost it though.
You lost it though?
Yeah, and the moves. No! I have no idea what happened to it. It was so tore up though. I had a giant gaping hole like in the top of it. It basically looked like a sock at that point, but
that needs to be framed. That's history right there.
It's lost to time, unfortunately.
All right, let's go to the next big win here. UGC St. Louis 2015 in a bracket reset, no less, alongside now retired players Chig and Cloud, and still going strong Ryanoob.
Yep.
How did that feel?
That event was so crazy. So obviously there was really good teams, and that was when Lethal had joined EG. So I think going in we were like confident, but we had kind of the mindset of like placing third. But then I think it might have been Straight Sick. Was watching us warm up against some team. I forget which team. And we just like destroyed them in the warm-ups, and the stuff that we were doing, like he said, it was like he literally looked at us, he's like, you guys are winning this tournament.
Oh shit.
And I was like, what? Why? He's like, dude, you guys are so far ahead of the meta. Wow. I was like, really? He's like, yeah. So sure enough, we start playing, and we're just like kind of frying everybody. And then we get to finals, and so we came from winners.
Yep.
And we beat them on everything except for Warlock Bomb. Or sorry, we lost Warlock Bomb to them. We lost Warlock Bomb to like everybody.
Okay.
But against them, we lost Warlock Bomb. I remember just saying, like, if we win Warlock Bomb, if it's in the next series, we're good. We're chilling. And then Warlock Bomb was game 1, I think. And we won it. And I was like, okay, we're 3-0ing them. And then we 3-0'd them after that. So I think we 3-0'd them. Could be wrong. But yeah, so that was crazy. My mom was there. That was crazy. Obviously Halo was in kind of a low point at that point. Like kind of on the bounce back, I should say. Like that's when HCS started to actually kind of support stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was crazy. Like it was fresh. It was like I think we were there like the day after New Year's. So it was like really early. It was like the fresh new year, like the second tournament. We had just got Chig back after Clutch subbed in for Chig. And then yeah, we won.
Just fucking insane. And then gonna jump ahead here for a second, but speaking of Chig, you've competed alongside your longtime friend and now Sentinels head coach Chig for many years and many titles, including Reach, Halo 4, and 2 Anniversary. How vital was it in your professional career having a player in person like Kyle on your team?
Yeah, so finding a duo that like complements you in general is just kind of the way, like the play. It's the play, right? Because you have somebody who's one, you guys are going to be stuck together, so you don't have to deal with like any shady bullshit. But yeah, Kyle to this day is still just like the most solid teammate I've ever had. Like he never really lost us games. I don't think he actually ever like was the reason that we lost. But he was never really the reason that we won. He just was like a very solid player. Really good comms, won his fights, stayed alive, didn't throw the game away. He's just a good teammate. Like he's still one of my favorite people like ever. Yeah, that was the first time that I had like somebody who had placed well that also respected me on my team. Because prior to that it was like, well, I don't want to say that Walsh had placed well and he respected me, but it was like that was actively still placing well and also showed me respect even though I wasn't. And then when we started teaming, like that gave me a ton of confidence as well because of that. So yeah, I mean, Kyle kind of like springboarded everything for me in a lot of ways by giving me an opportunity after being like a top 12 kid the whole year.
That's awesome. We had the pleasure of meeting him really for the first time. Was it at Raleigh last year?
No, I think that was Raleigh or Casey.
Either way, he was on his team, United at the time, was playing on a featured station, and he was sitting in the front row, like getting information and whatnot because the screens were so fucking small. And yeah, we just went up and sat next to him. We're talking to him a little bit, and he's like, it totally makes so much sense. You two teaming together for so long, because I swear to God, you two are literally like the two chillest people in the scene. And I mean that in the nicest way possible. Like it's funny to watch happen. Like, oh my God, they did team together for so long. And they're like, personality wise, to me from the outside looking in, it feels like spitting images of one another. So
yeah, there was differences there, but for the most part, it was like, just like chill. Like I think that was another big thing is we just like didn't take shit too serious. Mm-hmm. So it just like kind of took that edge off of like, dude, we're playing Halo. Like who gives a fuck? Like,
you're just playing your game.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Another win. I feel like this needs to be asked considering it was my personal first ever live event while also being over my birthday weekend, which was funny.
Oh, wow.
How did it feel winning the HCS North American Fall Finals 2016 event, again, in a bracket reset, alongside Pistola, Snipe Down, and Hook, against the now former CLG Optic Talk Sentinels roster?
Yeah, I can never win easy, huh?
Yeah,
that was making fucking hard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, that was crazy. So when that team formed, like, we knew we were going to win. It just was like, win, right? Yeah. Like, it wasn't like that was kind of the downfall of that team, was just it wasn't ever a talent problem. It was just like it just worked. So yeah, I mean that was fucking crazy because everyone had kind of written Ola off, and I stuck up for him and like got him on that MB team prior to that with Rain and L-Town, which kind of kept Ola's career going. And then yeah, we fucking did it. When we scrimmed them for the first time, obviously there's all that drama where Snipe Down was like, man, it feels good to beat the God Squad, even if it's only a scrim. And I was like, you're a fucking fool. But, yeah, because then we went to OC and like played kind of bad in the finals against them because they're just a really fucking good finals team. Like if you're in the finals against them, like they just kick it up a notch. So like the fact that we I was talking to Frosty 2 nights ago actually in eights, and he was like, you guys were fucking peaking. Like you guys were playing the best Halo ever that you guys have ever played. I was like, yeah, it's actually true though. I wish that team worked a little bit harder, obviously. I think we were all guilty of that, but yeah, that was a very, 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 very like memorable. I'll never forget that, obviously.
It was one of my favorite moments. And I'm not just saying it was my first event that I've ever been to, but like it was one of my favorite moments because I was rooting so hard for you guys to topple them. And
we made it as crazy as possible.
Oh yeah. I was sitting in the front row with my wife, and like we're just watching it all unfold. And when it went to the bracket reset, I'm like, oh my God. Okay, let's just get through this. Please, for the love of fucking God, get through this.
I was so fucking tired. I was like, God, dude, why do we do this?
But it worked out. It worked out in the end, and you guys got that W, and I was screaming. It was amazing.
That was awesome.
But now let's get to probably the greatest bracket reset tournament victory we've ever seen in UMG Daytona 2017, where you not only won the bracket reset against Optic, but it went the entire game 14 distance, Austin.
Yeah, we won both game 7s. Yeah, I mean, you can say a lot of stuff about that Envy team. We were fucking icy though. Like that's the one thing that you can say is that we were actually maybe the iciest team, but fucking trolls sometimes too. But yeah, that one was sick too. As the years have gone on, it's actually kind of lost its magic though, because Snakebite was super sick. So like you could listen to his comms and stuff. Like I was telling Frosty that like I count it like kind of like I count it, but like kind of don't at the same time in my own head. It's like like obviously we beat you, but it's at the same time it's like it's lost its magic a little bit, unfortunately, which happens. Like I'm lucky enough that there's enough tournament wins now that like one can lose its magic. I'm like, whatever, fuck it. Like
I was about to say, oh, you're really humble for saying that. And you're like, I have enough that doesn't even fucking matter. So who cares?
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm super lucky that that's the case. There's very few people that have won 4 tournaments. There's very few people that have won multiple tournaments with the same team.
Absolutely.
So, I think it's like a short list of like under 20 people.
So we've talked about bracket reset after bracket reset after bracket reset. Having competed for as long as you have and having won tournaments in the fashion you have, do you believe personally that there is a definitive advantage to getting to the grand finals of a tournament through the winner's bracket?
Yes and no. You get that cushion, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can kind of like get back into it. It just depends. So like if the team comes from like a deep losers run, you're at a disadvantage if you're coming from winners. But if it's like a traditional tournament where like, let's use like straw man, but like, let's say Optic beats SSG in winners finals. SSG then beats Native Red in that one series, or sorry, C9, but then beats Native Red in that final, or in the losers finals to make it to the finals. There's not really a disadvantage there for Optic. The difference was that C9 played from losers 1 all the way up. So, or I guess it would have been losers 2 or losers 3 or something, but like they went to losers as early as they could.
It was losers 1.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, they went to losers as early as they possibly could have and played through the whole bracket. That's when you're at a disadvantage. So yeah, it just depends on the situation. Like if it's a typical tournament where there's number 1 and number 2 and they play each other in winners, one team wins that, you know that team's going to make it back to the finals. The advantage goes to the winners bracket team at that point. But yeah, that's what made the Worlds one so impressive to me is like they got kind of slammed the first series and then took a quick breather and were like, wait a minute, what the fuck are we doing? And turn it around.
Absolutely. And then now we hear speculation about this consistently, especially when a team that's coming from losers bracket, whether it be a deep run or just a couple series, whatever it may be, and they get to the grand final and they lose. Is at any time does fatigue start to set in?
Yeah, big time. I was talking to Eco Kevin, and he was like, "Dude, I'm gonna bring like fucking like granola bars and put them in my bag for main stage if we keep doing stuff like that." Yeah, I mean, you start to get like hungry and really tired, especially when like you don't know what time it is because you're not looking at your phone, but like you can tell. You're like, I started the series at 8. I'm in game fucking 14. It's got to be like midnight. And then sure enough, it's usually probably like midnight. Yeah, it does. That's why like when people like don't try and scrims for the whole game, I'm like, you're just want to 3-0 everybody? All right, whatever. I mean, more power to you, but yeah, it gets everybody. It's tough.
You think it gets players, the younger ones as well?
Not as much. They have like that natural energy. They're not old. So
I didn't want to call you old. We're around the same age, but like, you know,
I'm an old man, like in the scene at this point, because it's like me and Eco are 29, and then the APG's 28. Ace would have been older than us. It drops off like steep after that. Well, formal's like 28, 27. Then I think after that it drops off steep. It's like the next person Snakebite, I think he's like 26.
Yeah, something like that.
And then it's like 24, and then like Renegade's 22, and then a lot of like 20, 21-year-olds now.
Yeah, we're old, Will.
Yeah.
Yep. We're 31, so we're big chilling over here. Yeah. Oh yeah. Back pain and all every morning. Owning it absolutely.
The knees are starting.
Oh, it sucks, man. It fucking sucks.
Dude, I woke up today and I had slept so hard my lower back was on fire. I was like, fuck, I gotta scrim too.
Get the Bengay. Or actually icy hot, right? That'd be
icy hot.
Yeah, icy hot.
I use Asper cream.
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, now with the fun stuff out of the way, unfortunately, I kind of want to bring up some potential downers here, but I think it can provide some context and some learning abilities for others as well. So, while it isn't a fun thing to do, I feel the need to ask about a couple losses. The 2017 Halo World Championship, playing for, Jesus Christ, Envy. God, I almost said Navi for some fucking reason. I don't know why that was in my head.
You're thinking about partner teams.
Right? Alongside Pistola, Snipe Down Hook, and Coach Alumni. After being sent to the losers bracket after a heartbreaking first round loss to Team Liquid 3-4, you guys made an unbelievable run, sweeping all through losers until facing off against Liquid once more in the losers bracket final, this time taking that series 4-2. But you were prepared for this. This is where you and the team saw yourselves in the grand finals and probably against Optic at that time. Turns out that's exactly what happened, but the results did not go in your favor, losing to Optic 4-0 and taking second in the tournament. So what were the conversations like after a run like that and then losing in the grand final?
So the conversations after the winners round 1 loss were really important. So like we went back to the room and like that team just had a tendency to like get just too stuck up in its own head of like we should be in the fucking finals no matter what. Like nobody can even touch us but Optic, yada yada. We got a little complacent, I think, all of us. But I just remember like going back to the room and I'm like, dude, we're fucking chilling. Like, don't worry about it. Like, I think the thing that we need to remember is like, let's take the edge off. Like 20, 30 years from now, we're going to be like, holy shit, we played for $1 million. Like, what do you want to say that you ended up in fucking round 1? So like, let's go hard. And we sat down. I think we won like 21 games in a row.
Yeah.
So fun fact, that tournament is like one of my highest points. So you used it as a low point. That's one of my favorite tournaments ever.
That's awesome.
Because I have the unique perspective that I left. Like, I left all this behind and was able to look back at it. And that's the one that, like, whenever I was thinking about, like, high moments, like, that's the one where, like, we came together and, like, fucking almost did it. Like, losing in the finals sucks. Like, obviously, I wanted to be a world champion, but, like, they're a god-tier team. Like, it just is what it is. The way they were able to bounce back and, like, rally and do what we did was, like, I mean, that's what that team did, but it was just like really special in that moment because all the pressure was on and we just like didn't let it affect us. And like, it wasn't even pressure or fatigue in the finals. Like we just didn't play well against them. Like they outplayed us. So like that one, you know, you look back at it and you're like, it's a little bittersweet, but it is like still a really high moment for me.
That's awesome. And I mean, thinking back about it, that team that you had has some of the best players in the world. I mean, you can't, including yourself, obviously, you're one of the best players in the world. And then you kind of answered this, but just more specifically, what was the mentality going into the grand finals of that tournament?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, it was just like this is a world championship. We're playing for $1 million. Like, let's just fucking like do our best, and not like worry about it too much. Like, don't think about it being $1 million tournament. Like, this is the biggest tournament of the year. This is everything. This is the culmination of all of our work. Like, let's just put it all out there. And we really didn't. But, I mean, the first game was close. But yeah, other than that, that's the worst part about that tournament. Other than like the early losses, but the early losses we kind of chalked it up to we just weren't playing our game.
Sure.
Like obviously getting 4-0 in the finals sucks. There's no way around that. But like, if you look at it as a whole, it was fine.
All right, last one I have as we reminisce. Worlds 2018 and the controller disconnect heard around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. So up to this point as a competitor, you've had to have seen it all. But even still, the singular moment in Halo esports history continues to stand out. Can you walk us through this moment and provide additional insight, if any, into the disconnect itself?
So, prior to the tournament, Sparty was having controller issues and it was disconnecting. And
before the tournament?
Yeah, like about a week before. But Tyler really cares about, like, he has to break in a controller, so we understood.
Right.
And Penguin was really good at fixing like the USB port on controllers. Like, he's a controller wizard. So yeah, we can fix the controller port. So he fixed the controller port, but it was still happening, and we couldn't figure out what it was. So yeah, we said, like, we need to do what you do to, like, we need to do what we need to do to get it fixed so it doesn't happen mid game. I think I even joked, like, watch it happen. I was like, if it happens in like a game 7, like, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. And then
literally
but so when it happened, I actually wasn't even like mad. I was just like, a fucking course. Like like a fucking course. So it turned out, though, he was using his own cord, and it was the cord. And if he had used this cord that was given to him by MLG, they might have been Esports Engine at the time, but the tournament host, they would have done a replay. But since it was his equipment, they don't do the replay because it needs to. Yeah, they have to be careful with those rules.
What? They would have done a replay if it was their cord.
Yeah, because then it was their provided equipment.
So I have a dumb follow-up. How could you prove it was the cord, though?
We just figured out that was the problem at that point, because he had fixed the controller port. He had, like, done everything possible, so it had to have been the cord.
Got it. Okay.
But it might have not been. Like, I mean, it was definitely possible that it wasn't, but I think all of us were like, it was the cord. So, but I'm not gonna sit here and act like, you know, like he should have fucking used their cord. Like, the cord that they give you is like this fucking big.
Oh yeah.
And the cords that we're using are like, I can't even show it on camera. They're like 10-footers.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing that ever is, like, so I have my cable right now, and this one's kind of short, but like when it gets like all wrapped up and stuck on you and stuff, you don't want that. So you want like a pretty long one that goes along the side and then comes up through the back of the chair usually. Yeah. And you don't want the short one, so you're not like playing like that. So I'm not gonna blame him for that. It was just like the universe definitely was like, this is fucking happening to you the week before, and then it did. So I was just sitting there, and Eric was just fucking livid, obviously, because Eric is Eric.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, and also I had pleurisy. I landed and had pleurisy, which is like inflammation of the rib lining. So I was on like steroids to not feel them. So I'm sitting there, like, not feeling too hot, on steroids, like ready to just like roid rage it out. And I'm just like, I'm going back to the hotel, dude. And
oh
fuck
my
this. Like,
god.
I was like so angry that you can't even tell. Like, if you look at the rebroad and like watch me, like, I don't even look that mad, but inside I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I couldn't deal. Like, I was in like a war with myself of like, should I be mad? Am I mad? I'm fucking pissed. Wait, what the fuck? It was really weird. It was a really, really weird moment.
I just couldn't believe the circumstance in which it happened. You guys had like a 4 or 5 kill lead. Spartan just got snipe. Like,
he gets back to engine, and then he looks over camo. Zane gets camo for free. We're probably up like 7 kills at that point with camo snipe, because Sparty could have dropped it for Zane, and then Zane is fucking a god, so he probably would have extended the lead even more. Like, I think everybody except for Envy realizes that we probably won that game 7. Envy, of course, will be like, nah, it's fucking close still. Of course, I get that, but. Yeah, I think everybody was like, they fucking won for sure. And I think we were all like, this sucks. But whatever. Shit happens.
As somebody who is rooting for Envy, I'm sorry. But as somebody who is rooting for Envy in that series, our buddy Justin was sitting right next to me, and he was rooting for you guys. And like, so as this happened, like I was an asshole and I cheered for it because I'm like, oh shit. And then he was like livid. But I agree with you. I've said it since the day it happened, is that I truly believe that if Spartan was able to get away with snipe, then you guys would have got camo uncontested because you guys were set up for it right away with that snipe right there. And I truly believe you guys would have won. You guys had a lead, you were going into it, and everything was poised to keep that lead going, like you said, but it just fuck.
Unlucky. I think Eric was sitting there bitching. I was like sitting there, I was like, unlucky. That's all I really could say.
I don't know.
We went backstage and is so pissed. Go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know if you could recall, but did you guys have information that Pistola was jumping up to that overlook? because I mean, Sparty was looking he was looking over camo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I was always
really
curious,
recall.
like, if Pistola or if that kill would have even happened, you probably would have been able to get out of there with the snipe.
Oh, he absolutely would have,
Yeah.
because he stopped dead in his tracks, and then Ola was able to pick him off. But like, if he didn't stop,
no,
right there,
so
he would've gotten an
okay,
engine.
yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, so we knew that Ola was at Carbine, and I literally said, I made the play call. I was like, because I saw Tyler run to snipe, I was like, Tyler, just thrust slide the engine, and that's what he tried to do, and he just shook his controller too hard or something when he hit the thrust slide. Like I don't know what caused it, but my guess is when he hit the thrust slide, he gripped really hard, and it disconnected it. But yeah, dude, he would have just like for free, like he would have been kind of weak. Yeah. Doing the cross for sure,
One or
but
two
not
shots
that weak.
That's it. No.
Yeah, it was like, even if he dies on the cross, Zane picks up snipe right there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was unlucky, but yeah, no, I do remember. Yeah, we had the information because we had them trapped. Like we knew that they were at Carbine side, and that they were like gonna try and get out nest. So yeah, it was like we had just like 4 dead of them, I think, or maybe even like 3 dead of them, and the camo was coming up. So yeah, when it happened, I remember the comms were like, holy fuck. Like, but then I was like, and I think Tuger was our coach, and he was like, no, you guys are fine, just regain. And then, yeah, I don't think we got many more kills after that, to be honest. Like, it definitely checked us out.
I think you guys kept it close up to like the 40-41 mark, and then they kind of ran away. But it, oh my God, it's just, I'm sorry to ask, but like I felt it's a seminal moment, and like people keep remembering that moment. I fucking keep remembering about that moment. So
yeah, no, I mean the good thing is again, I was able to like step away and get perspective on all this stuff. Like, it sucked in the moment for sure, but it's pretty fucking cool that it's even a conversation in all reality. Like, it's a Halo World Championship, Game 7, playing a video game. Like, how mad can you act? Like, if I'm 55 years old, am I gonna sit here and be like, that fucking controller disconnect, man? Like, there's just no way.
Just fucking DM Tyler and just be like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, we're like fucking at the elder pool. Like, dude, remember when your controller disconnected? No, I'm not going to be like that. Some people might, but not me.
Oh, man. I love it. Will, take the next couple.
Okay. So what has been your favorite roster to be a member of throughout your career?
I mean, Envy's the easy choice, but it's both. Yeah. So if you're gonna ask what my least favorite was, it's Envy as well. We had our highs and lows. Like, that team was together for a really long time. So I think the highest moments were there, but like we went through a lot of personal shit too that made that team like pretty, like specifically me, like made that team kind of rough. At times, but the cool thing with that team is the reason it's my favorite is the amount of times we like rallied, bounced back, because this is like not really known information. So me and Hook are gonna leave before Daytona and team up with Eco and Stellar, and we were gonna go to Liquid.
That would have been something.
And then we got into a call and like talked about it and like, let's give it one last shot, and then we fucking won, and then got like 4th the rest of the year. So we honeymooned the shit out of that win, but yeah, that was I love that team, like specifically the first half of it. The last half was rough. Like, we just had a lot of shit going on. A lot of it was my fault, but yeah, it's definitely, again, another bittersweet thing. Like, it was a really good team, and I like 9 out of 10 memories are positive, but the ones that were negative were really fucking negative, unfortunately. But also at the same time, I haven't really had bad teams.
That's good.
So, like, if I think back, like, almost all my teams I've been on, I've enjoyed.
Okay.
So there was never really like a holy shit, get me off this team moment. There was more of like, holy shit, this team's falling apart. Like, we should probably like figure it out type stuff.
Well, hopefully Gilkey doesn't fuck you over this year, you know? Totally.
No, vibes are good. Vibes are good.
Obviously. I'd hope so.
Can you give us some Mikwin knowledge? What types of advice would you give to a player looking to go pro?
I don't want to regurgitate the same shit that everybody says, because everyone's like, just play a lot, or just like watch your film. I think you see like a lot of people like especially at the top right now, like, or sorry, like the older players went through like a lot of like failure, right? There's a few people who obviously come into the league and just see success right away, like Renegade, Snipe Down, like Shotzi. I'm trying to think who's in right now, like that has seen a lot of success. Like Formal saw a lot of success right away back in Reach, and obviously now, like there is those cases, and it's really easy as a person to look at those and be like, I should be capable of that. When the reality is that most pros have been at it for a really long fucking time. ABG's been playing since 2006. I've been playing since 2006. Snakebite's been playing since 2006. Eco was playing back in Halo 3 and not placing that well, and started placing well in Halo 5. You know, for every bound, there's 6 pros that fucking toughed it out and got top 32 or top 48 here and there. That's just how you get better. Like, you just go to the tournament and get kind of fried, and you realize if you have what it takes then and there sometimes, and some people just don't. And yeah, you just gotta tough it out. Like, the shit sucks. It's not fun. Like, it's not fun to play top 48, like to go to a tournament and play for 2 series. Like, it's just not. But if like you actually want to do it, that's probably going to be part of the process.
Do you think that's the best way to get exposed as a new player? Like, I mean, like exposure, not exposed in a negative way, but like to go to events and do that, or is the like online warrior method?
I think both work. I think nowadays the internet and like online play is like obviously bullshit, but like solid enough that like a lot of the pros don't have the mindset of the pros that did in Halo 3, where like if you're shitting on somebody in matchmaking in Halo 3, you wouldn't do it on LAN. Nowadays, it's like, well, I say nowadays, but there's also like the hacker stuff. But there's nowadays, if somebody's pretty good online, the chances of that translating to like a tournament is probably pretty high. So it's both. Like, you know, I think some people do got to go to tournaments and tough it out, and like if they're like trying to get better. But if like you're already just like kind of a natural insane talent, like you're gonna get picked up and get kind of the bound effect or the renegade effect or something like that. So yeah, a little bit of both. Answer's a little bit of both. I think if you asked me 10 years ago, it would have been you have to go to a tournament and compete well. But nowadays it's just there's so much online stuff, and online's has its issues again, but like at the same time it's still pretty real.
Did you say going to events back in the day was kind of the big thing you had to do. Yeah. I remember seeing a few people coming up through the FFA ranks, like in Amish Acorns and stuff like that. Would you, like back in that day, fucking talking about how we're old, was FFA seen as a viable place, like to show yourself and be like, hey, maybe I can do this in 4s as well?
Yeah, not as much as Halo 2 though. So Halo 2 was interesting because you would play against pros. Like the FFA was like a huge open bracket, so you get like a pro in your lobby, like in 3rd round. Like I had Karma in mine in 3rd round.
Oh, that's crazy.
In Halo 2. But they kind of like MLG started doing that in Halo 3, where like the pros weren't allowed to play in it, and then HCS does that now too. So like yeah, like if you go through that and just kind of dominate it, like there's something there. But if like you're edging people, like nowadays most people look at it and they're just like whatever.
Okay.
Like top AM kids would look at like the Halo 3 FFAs and be like, oh, there's this kid, he doesn't have a team, he's winning the FFA, he's probably pretty good. And that was kind of like where you could like springboard. Yeah, nowadays like I don't even think like most pros like know who won the one at Worlds, or like who even like got top 8 at the one at Worlds. And that's not the pros' fault. That's on the structuring of it. I think the format of it, like I think most pros, if you gave them Friday, because most of us don't do shit on Friday at a tournament anyways, if you gave them Friday to play an FFA, like there will definitely be like one per team that doesn't, but you'll see a lot of pros actually playing it.
Not to shit on like what happened at the event, but I will say that shout out to the staff that was there to put the thing on to make sure that everything kept running, because they did a phenomenal job. But it wasn't structured well, like you said. It literally went to like late into the night. The venue was shutting down. There was literally nobody left except people hanging out at the FFA area, and we watched Bop win it. And that like that was it. As soon as that ended, They immediately kicked everybody out.
Turn the lights on and say, get the fuck out.
Yeah, because everything else was done. There was literally nobody else there except the like security and just the people hanging out in the FFA pit waiting for the finals to be done.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know that it is really, really hard to like let a day go by and not run the 4v4, so I get why they don't do FFAs. But yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy how like Halo 2. Obviously, I didn't go to a ton of tournaments back in Halo 2, but I went to 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything seemed to end at a decent time back then. But nowadays, it's like if you throw one wrench into the gears, suddenly it's like midnight, and AMs are having to play at midnight and stuff. And it sucks. Like I feel bad for like people who are like trying to tough it out, because it's just like if one thing goes wrong, like you're gonna sit there until like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning playing your series. I mean, there's the infamous Waka Flocka series. So if you don't know what that one is, that's hilarious. But
no, talking about the wrench, the gear thing is like so many. And this isn't to throw shade at anybody specifically, but like there's been so many technical difficulties that have been experienced over the last year, and like open bracket, champ bracket, main stage, like
everywhere.
It's fucking insane. So
and it happened in Halo 5 as well. Yeah, too. Is something like people like. It's just I don't know if it's just like modern games. I can go on a whole fucking soapbox about modern games, but yeah, it sucks. Like things. Maybe it's nostalgia. I don't know. Sometimes I just chalk it up to nostalgia. You know, as I'm a kid, I walked into a tournament. You could have had me there till 6 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't have cared. And I probably wouldn't remember if I was. So
rose tinted glasses and all that, you know.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Will, do you want to? Should we move into the present?
Yeah, let's go.
Go for it. What's next up?
Can you explain the roster mania shenanigans heading into Infinite HCS Season 2 with Native?
Just for respect of like other players, I'm not gonna like go in depth, obviously, but there's 3 teams that were possible, 2 of which were on Native, 1 of which was not, and then this team became a possibility after those 3. So I think in October I had an idea. In November, that idea was different. In December, that idea was different. Then the end of December, that idea was different. The beginning of January, everything changed. So that's kind of how it went. Like to TLDR it. And really, the only drama now, or like hiccups now, has just been visa stuff.
So you're literally like the definition of roster mania is your past 3 months, basically.
Yeah. So well, everybody too, minus FaZe. Like everybody was waiting for their move, which kind of pissed me off. But I'm like, why are we waiting? We know what they're doing. Like, let's just go. Let's like get it going. So that we weren't figuring it out in early January, but that's what most people wanted to do, I guess. So yeah, it's crazy. Most of the like where most of the stuff happened was like FaZe, Sin, G1, and then us. Like is where like the pool of players were like talking and figuring shit out. Trying to think. Yeah, because Red didn't change, so a lot of teams actually did stay together. The top 3 teams stayed together, so
they did.
It wasn't as bad as like some where like everything changes after the tournament. I've seen those, but that almost happened after KC, I'm pretty sure. But
you said top 3 teams stay together. Who's the
top 3 did? Native Red.
Oh, okay, so we're saying Native Red's a top 3 team.
I'm saying they got 3rd. Yeah, they placed top 3. Yeah, the top 3 teams at Worlds actually stuck it out, which you rarely see. Like at most, you see the top 2, usually, and then you see that 3rd team plus the 4th place players kind of do something.
Yeah.
But the thing that was interesting was the fact that Snakebite, Royal 2, Frosty, and Lethal placed 5th, 6th. So that was where it really got complicated for people.
Their worst placing of all time.
Still, like the only time they're as a team 5th, 6th, that's still Snakebite and Royal 2's worst placing together as a duo is 5th, 6th.
Yep, of all time. That's so.
And I think it's happened to 3 times. 5th, 6th has happened to maybe twice, and I think they've placed outside the top 2. Obviously, last year was a little bit more, but I think they placed outside the top 2 together like 5 times.
Yeah, they're
ridiculous,
insane. So I'm gonna hit back again on the Native Red thing because I want you to throw shade at your other organization's team. Do you still think they're a top 3 team now that you're Native White, Mikwin?
No, I support the hell out of them. I love their grind. Like the fact that they're like brothers and like grind it out and stuff. Um, they're obviously inconsistent to an extent. And they're like this is like truly their rookie year. Like obviously they were playing some of the stuff back in the day, but like this is truly like their first year in like the actual height of competition. Um, I've always said it about them. Like they could give you a 12th place, they could give you a 6th place, they could give you a 3rd place. Like I want to see them if they can break into the finals. But yeah, they're like I like all of them, and I love the way that they've gone about this stuff because they've stuck it out, figured it out, and it seems like they kind of have like that brotherly connection. So they would be the first team if so like like not semantics, but like if you want to talk about crazy stuff. So I don't think there's a single roster in Halo that has ever formed and within their first 3 tournaments placed outside the top 2 and ended up winning a tournament. So if they were able to do that together, there'd be a pretty crazy story there. But yeah, if you look at every team that has like pretty much ever formed, I think even Carbon, they place top 2 at least once in their first 3 tournaments and then they'll win. So yeah. That's usually the way that works. Like I've never really seen, I guess maybe Quo. Quo would be, but they placed top 2 at the end. So yeah, I think with that roster, they placed top 2 within 3 tournaments. Actually, now that I think about it, when they picked up Assault within 3 tournaments, they placed second and they won. Yeah, that's like, it might be 4, it might be 3 tournaments. I don't know. But if they don't place within top 2 as a roster, like early on, you usually never see that team win or even get close. So the fact that they've been inching forward over time is kind of breaking the rules. So yeah, no, I respect the shit out of them.
No, same here. And they I mean, they fucking shut us up at Worlds.
Oh yeah.
They shut everybody up.
Oh yeah. And I mean, we were calling them the most consistent 5th, 6th team all year.
And then they got 12th.
Yeah, but then they just shot up.
Back. They rubber banded it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when it mattered the most.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Will.
So with that incredible native red run, does it add any pressure to native white to perform, or does that like lift you guys up to that you have that kind of second team that's been performing how they have?
I don't know. Obviously, like it's like new, so like I don't know how we feel about that. But like me personally, like I don't really look at it like that. So like the native thing, I've been with native since early last year, and I know Dean. So like them getting 3rd was just like awesome for the org.
Yeah.
So that's all I really care about. Like we've been joking about it. Like what the fuck are you gonna do when we play each other? Because it's gonna happen. And really Dean is like, I don't know. Dean said he might just like walk out, I think. But yeah, no, I don't think it really has too much of an effect on us. It's like they are just another team in a lot of ways. Like just I guess there might be some silver linings. Like if we have a bad tournament, if they pop off, I'll be like, fuck yeah. Like at least we didn't like hold native down, or like at least native did all right. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it happens. Like when we actually play each other, because again, it's gonna happen. It's just the way it goes. So,
have you guys scrimmed against each other yet?
No, I don't even think we have them scheduled. So the scrims this week, we scrimmed the X Oxygen roster, took a day off, played played Super CC's team. Did not really play well against them. I mean, we played okay in the last half. And then played Sin, got bopped by Sin. Then we played Optic tonight, and it was much better. Not like good, but we rebounded and actually played all right. So we got some stuff to figure out for sure. Like, but the good thing is like Ozbay and Alex are like obviously coming from a different region, so there's a lot of stuff they need to like massage out there. But there's talent, so that's all that really matters. And I'll bring it out. I'll figure it out.
Awesome.
So what are you and the team looking to get out of scrims right now then?
Right now, just like finding our identity has been like a little weird because like Infinite's weird. It's like you can play super fast or you can play a little slow or a little methodical or all that type of stuff. So yeah, just finding our footing and figuring out like who we are and what we are. There's some stuff that is taking time to figure out for sure. And then also like a big thing too is like Ozbay, it's his second language. So we have to like think about the fact that like how overstimulated he probably is right now, just trying to figure it out. So yeah, I mean, scrims and losing is never fun for sure. And contrary to popular belief, when people say scrims don't mean anything, like people do get pissed at losing scrims.
Then I will sit corrected because I tout on the show so many times that scrims are shit.
So they don't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but losing them does to the players.
Okay.
Like until you get to a point where like you're a team that's won a fucking tournament together, you don't give a shit about like those guys. Like once you win a tournament, you're like fucking who gives a shit about scrims? Like we'll just scrim it out, figure it out. Like it doesn't matter if we win or lose. Okay. But when you're a new team, yeah, that's all you got. So you need to figure it out because you don't know what you're going to be like at a tournament. You don't know what you're going to be like on land. So you have to practice like really good habits online so that they do translate. So yeah, I mean, there's the whole piece of like I had to take a year off. I mean, even more than that in all reality. So there's like I'm figuring shit out. Sometimes I'm the best player on the map, and then other times I don't know what the fuck to do. There's just learning process there. That's just the way it goes. Kind of going back to like how you get better, like, and how you figure stuff out. Like, failure is usually a really good path to learn from. It's just if you can actually handle it. So, yeah. I mean, it's first week of scrims too. Like, we play phase tomorrow at 6, so Saturday at 6. Also, just getting back into the habit of it.
Sure.
Like, it's been throwing me off big time. I like my schedule. I'm like, what the fuck is going on, dude?
Now you're back to peak just pro player hours where what you fucking get up in the afternoon and play through the night and then sleep at, you know?
I'm trying not to do that though, but then I was sitting in the Discord the other night and I was with Dean, our owner, and they needed one for 8s. He's like, you need to go play 8s. I was like, fuck. So I joined up. It was like 5 a.m. There, Frosty's like, bet me 200, Austin. I'm like, okay, so I bet him 200. Then we lose the first series. I'm like, fuck, I'm down $200. And they're like, let's dub it. I'm like, fuck it, whatever, let's double or nothing.
What the fuck?
Then we win the reset.
Okay,
let's go.
By then it's like 7 o'clock in the morning because we played Argyle for like 55 minutes. We tied it. So we played Argyle, got a cap. Somebody lagged out. So then we did a full and then we replayed Argyle, tied it, restarted it, and I think we almost went to OT again. We played a full game, like another full game of Argyle. So there was like 45 minutes of Argyle, maybe 50 minutes. It's pretty crazy.
What the fuck?
50 minutes. So by then it was like 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, fuck.
Well, at least you won. You know?
Yeah, no, at least I broke even.
Oh,
I didn't lose any money. So yeah, because we won the dub. But it's like 7:30. The sun's out. I was out of cigarettes. I was like, I gotta go to the gas station. By then it's 8 a.m. I'm not tired at all. I was like, fuck. So I think I fixed it last night though, because last night it was like 2:30. I was like, I'm getting in bed right now. I laid there till like 3, and then finally fell asleep.
I think Frosty was trying to finesse you. Like that's how it feels like, you know, fucking 5 a.m.
Well, everybody bet. Like John. So Renegade was like, somebody was like, John, how much you want to bet? And John was like, Austin, have you played today? I was like, I screamed. He goes, all right, I'm betting 500. I was like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Holy shit. Wait, was Renegade on your
those
team?
always get wild. What?
Was Renegade with you?
Yeah, he was on my team.
Okay, I was going to say, fuck it. No offense.
Yeah, it was a really good lobby. So it was me,
Frosty,
Renegade. Holy shit. Who was it? Me, Renegade, Bound, and Spartan against Druck, Soul Snipe, Frosty, and Suppressed.
Oh, God.
It was a really, really good lobby.
Holy shit. At 5 a.m. Fuck
5 a.m.
Well, so yeah,
the morning.
They lost one, and I typed in that. I was like, do I need to save the lobby? And they were like, yes. I'm like, fuck, dude, why does this always happen to me?
It's because you're that good, that's why.
I don't know why I don't just hit 1 at midnight, though.
You know,
I just type 1 at midnight and join up for the midnight series.
It's real gamer hours. 5 a.m. That's
for real.
Jesus.
So bad.
Go ahead, Will. Was there another one there?
With the new roster, what is each member going to bring to the table?
What do you expect them to bring to the table?
What do you expect?
Yeah. So figuring that out to an extent. Obviously, like I know that there's talent. Like there's a lot of like gun skill. Like tapping does not miss, Barco does not miss, Gilkey does not miss. We know there's a lot of talent there. Gilkey and I are obviously a little bit more of like the veterans, so yeah, we'll see, kind of, right? Like I have a lot of faith in the roster. It's just I don't know. Like again, like we're trying to find the identity, so like I don't know what that's gonna look like yet, and that's never a good answer or like really fun to deal with, but it is sometimes what you got to go through. Yeah, I think I think the identity stuff, like once we figure it out, then that's like we'll figure that out because we can sit here and talk about it all day of like what people should fall into, but that doesn't mean that's what will actually happen. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of talent. There's definitely talent there, and there's definitely potential to like place really well. It's just actually executing on like figuring it out.
Snakebite said something recently in his stream, and I bet he says it all the time, to be honest, but like about how on FaZe at least, not one single player has a single role, but instead every player should be able to do everything. Do you hold that same mentality?
Yeah, I mean, you have people that have like tendencies, right? So like you have people that like are trying to go for the objective a little bit more, and you have people who are trying to go for kills a little bit more, people who are trying to play their life a little bit more, people who are trying to just do damage. Like there's tendencies, but at the end of the day, like if you can't do everything, then yeah, that's a problem.
Okay.
So yeah, like I think that's what we'll find some growing pains. Like there's a whole piece of like two people coming from a different region, so they have to learn kind of the NA meta and figure out that like they're not the best player on the map guaranteed. They can be, but they have to figure out how to become that. And then I have to figure out like the meta as well because I haven't played. So I kind of feel bad for Gilk because he's like sitting there like that's the meta, and we're all like, news to us right now, bro. Like, I do think luckily it is like riding a bike, so like I do still kind of like see the plays on the map and stuff, but it's not consistent, which is where I'm kind of beating myself up right now of like I should be better, but I'll figure it out. I'm not like down in the dumps about it. I'm just like, fuck, this sucks right now.
You're in the trenches is what I'd say, right?
Yeah, exactly.
When the roster was announced, I mean, obviously a lot of people were like, this is fucking awesome. You're bringing in two different people from two different regions, arguably the two best people from their respective regions, as a matter of fact. And when we saw Barcode in that all-star match that happened like at KC or something like that, or whatever event it was this year or last year, it seemed like he just vibed well with everybody that was there. That I think is amazing, right? And then with tapping buttons, we know that he was on EG like for a short amount of time during Halo 5, and like for all intents and purposes, he played pretty damn well. So we already know what he's going to be capable of there. I don't really know if there's a question here, but really just kind of pointing it out that you guys are bringing in arguably the two best players from their respective regions, bringing to the North American side of things when they both have played on the North American side of things. Barcode being with G2 and tapping with being with EG a long time ago. Do you think that there's going to be a lot of time to get them like with the whole system, or you got, I mean, this is going to sound stupid. You guys going to be prepared for Charlotte?
Yeah, most likely. So how do I word this? Like, it's going to take more time than Charlotte to be like, to get to full potential, for sure. If we're able to get the full potential for Charlotte, that's fucking kind of nuts, honestly. But unfortunately, time is just, like we said it a few times, time is just not on our side right now, right, because things took so long. And we missed out on a week of scrims as well, which sucks. So like, our feet are to the fire a little bit in a lot of ways of figuring stuff out. I think we'll be prepared, obviously, because we're going to scrim all the time and we're going to be as prepared as possible. It just depends on how much potential we can like kind of squeeze out in the next month, right? So is it going to be the team's absolute peak? Probably not. Is it going to be prepared though? Yes. It's just one of those things where like that's where we're really going to see what we're capable of, and scrims will kind of show us that as well. So yeah, it's obviously like you always want to like go in a tournament like I can fucking win this thing.
Yeah.
But you also have to be realistic, and I think that that's really important, that like you're not ridiculous of like, we're in our fourth scrim. I'm not going to tell these guys that we should already be playing perfect Halo against Optic and fucking FaZe and stuff. Like that's just unfair. I'm going to ask them to fix those things, and then I expect the same for them to do to me as well, to fix it, because that's another piece too, is I have to figure shit out as well. Like I think the only person on the team that like is like fully settled, like understands the NA meta, is Gilk.
Yeah.
So again, I kind of feel bad for him in that sense, but yeah, we'll be all right. Like I think tonight was like we showed some good signs of life of like what's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Now we just have to figure out how to make that consistent, which is a process.
I guess I am glad I asked that like roundabout fucking question, because I was worried I was going to get the answer like, oh yeah, I'll be fucking prepared. Don't worry about that. But no, I'm glad you provided context, because you understand and you've been around for so long and you've seen both sides, and you understand that this is a new roster. People come from different countries and you have your expectations set. And obviously like you want to perform the best you possibly can, but you have your expectations in check. You know, you're going to know what you're going to need to improve upon. And like, this is why I fucking wanted to have him on the show. That's why I wanted to have him on. Because he fucking
it's just
gets
like
it.
it's being realistic. It's something that like you learn. Like obviously, again, you want to go into the tournament like I can fucking win. Like you have to have that.
Yeah.
You cannot be a competitor and like not have that ego. But at the same time, you have to be fucking realistic, so you don't go to the tournament with like unrealistic expectations and like putting weight on people's shoulders that isn't necessary. Like it's already stressful enough.
Absolutely.
Like it's, I think nowadays it's less stressful because you have a salary and stuff and things are a little bit more consistent, but like, it's still not fun to go to a tournament and not play well. Like it's just not fun. The whole point is to go there and play as the best that you can. So yeah, who knows? I mean, we could fucking figure it out in 2 weeks. Like I will say that when we scrimmed Sentinels, it was rough. We were like, what the fuck? Like all of us were like, that was weird. Like that just felt weird.
Yeah.
But then we played Optic today and it felt a lot better. Like choking games that we should have won, and then like clutching some games. I think it was there was like 7 lag outs, so it was the most fucking annoying series ever. But I think we won 4 or 5, so it wasn't terrible considering that team like blows people out of the water a lot of times. So, but I didn't play well. Like I'm just not playing that well right now. I'll figure it out. I'm just inconsistent as fuck. I'll drop a 1.8, then drop a 0.4. Like it's just the way it is. I have to get
like
into the motion.
Sounds like,
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Those are our numbers, There's a
Yeah, no, I
reason
mean,
why
I don't like it. I'm sitting there like, fuck, like this sucks. I'm beating myself up about it, but I'll figure it out.
There's a reason why we're called Austin. There's a reason why we're called HCS Pro Talk and not HCS Pro Play. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the point. Let's go to you working for 343. Now, I'm going to preface this whole thing with, obviously, if there's things that you cannot talk about, just say you can't talk about them. That's perfectly fine. But if you are able to talk about it, what were your responsibilities as a member of the 343 Competitive Insights team heading into the release of Infinite?
Okay, so I'm usually pretty good about this stuff, and I can navigate it while not crossing the line.
Like I said, it's okay if you can't talk.
Yeah. I'm just honestly there was a lot. So we worked with the multiplayer team, the sandbox team, the UI team, the live service team, about basically anything and everything. They would ask for like our feedback to an extent. We didn't have like truly any responsibilities. I do think that we were like partial like stakeholders is the term for comp settings specifically. Yep. But that was basically just like they needed our go ahead to like, once we said it was green as well. Or it was green from our end, but it also needed to be green lit from, every other stakeholder. So yeah, we really didn't have like a ton of like anything that like we owned. It wasn't like we made any of the weapons or made any of the maps or like specifically like hands-on like made any of this stuff. Now we worked with the designers to be like, hey, like maybe you should do this. So actually this is something I know I can say. So at Worlds they showed streets.
Yep.
On the community side, and you saw that streets where the B stairs are, there's a giant wall all the way up. There's no rail. That was our feedback that made that rail a thing. So like that's the type of stuff that where we would come in was like, hey, like maybe delete this wall, or hey, like maybe like open this up here, or like just stuff like that. Weapon placement was a big one that they worked with us really closely on. Weapon balance, they worked with us. I wish they worked with us a little bit more, but they worked with us. I can't say they didn't, but there's stuff that I wish was listened to. And that for like, just to clarify, like when you are in a corporate environment, that shit happens. Like you're gonna say something that you think is right, and sometimes it's not gonna happen. Like that's not me like throwing shade. That's just saying like, obviously as that team, I value that team a lot, and I think that team is really intelligent. And there's a lot of stuff that we could have been even better. The game could have been even better out of the box, if some of that stuff was caught or found or listened to, and kind of all the above. And then, yeah, like working with HCS team to find the competitive settings. So, figuring out what the starting weapon was, figuring out what, where the weapons were at on the map, what the map and mode combos were, what works on what map. And again, there's a lot of stuff there, like, that we could have probably done a little bit better. Like a big one was like, we didn't know what the fuck to do with Behemoth, so that's why it kind of just ended up a matchmaking in no man's land.
Oh God, for fuck's sake!
We were like, but this is the thing: if you talk to 10 people about Behemoth, 5 will say fuck that map, and 5 will say I love that map. And the same exact thing with Bazaar. So that's what was happening internally. We were like, 5 of us were like, Bazaar's the fucking worst, but Behemoth is better than Bazaar. And then the other 5 were like, Behemoth is the fucking worst, Bazaar is better than Behemoth. And we were like, all right, just put it in fucking matchmaking. Like, we don't know what to do now.
What side were you on?
I was on Behemoth.
Like, liking it or not liking it?
Yeah, I liked Behemoth over Bazaar.
Oh, get out of here, dude. What?
I'm sorry.
With the vehicles, too?
No vehicles. There's no vehicles in the ranked. So that
map's too fucking big, man.
It's huge. It's definitely huge. It has its issues, for sure. But
is it still being tweaked? You do know?
What?
Do you know if it's still being tweaked? It was said that like they're gonna tweak it.
Yeah, I really don't know. I tried. That was a big thing with the whole leaving 343 thing, as I wanted to get back to being a consumer and not on that side of the fence. Like,
right.
I want the magic to come back with it. Obviously, it never will to an extent, because I know how things are made and what things look like in early stages and stuff. But the whole goal is to get back to being a consumer. Like, I want to be on this side of the fence. Like, game dev is weird. It can kind of suck the soul out of it for you if you look at it too literally and like see how things are actually made, and you're like, whoa, that's fucking crazy, but like kind of lame at the same time. Like the magic of like design and stuff, like you see something when you play with it, you're like, holy shit, how did they make this thing, right? Yeah. Kind of adds to it, whereas I lose that of like, holy shit, how did they make this thing? Oh yeah, well that's how. And I wanted to get back to that. So,
well, another reason why I wanted to have you on is because there aren't a lot of people that are able to provide that perspective of both the professional player and one that has worked on the game as well. And especially when the game is recent and it's currently being played in the competitive meta, and the fact that you are going back to it, like that's, I think whenever I was telling Will about this, I tell other friends about this too, is that whenever you put out a tweet about something, and I know like you talk about you're not trying to be on social media that often, but like when you put a tweet out about something or when you reply to something, it's like, it's very clear, it's very concise, it's very respectful about things that are happening because you've been on both sides of it. And I value that opinion greatly because you have been on both sides of it and you get it.
Yeah. That was like a big learning process internally though. Like there is all that like designer jargon and engineer jargon of like, you have to say it this way so that they fully understand it. It's like whenever you are in something that you are proficient in, it's really easy for you to explain it. It's really hard for the person to understand your explanation. Mm-hmm. And that was like probably the biggest like learning curve for all of us, was how to word, like, obviously when we say, like, we always had the joke internally, we'd be like, sometimes some shit you just don't got to play. Right, like that was like the joke of like, you'd hear something was happening, you're like, yeah, we don't have to fucking play that. Like we know that's bad. Like, but you have to be able to explain that, right? So we would play it. Like we would make that joke of like some shit you just know, but there's like, you do have to play it, and because you have to explain it and show it and visualize it and all this type of stuff. So that was something that we learned internally big time, of like a lot of Word documents, a lot of like talking to designers and like writing emails and talking to them on Teams, of like trying to explain it, and they'd be like, I'm not understanding. And you're like, okay, let me try it this way. Okay, I'm not understanding. Okay, let me try it this way. Okay, now I get it. And you're like, okay, that's what works. So yeah, it's Yeah, it taught me like a lot of really important stuff, but at the same time, like it basically just taught me how to like mold that feedback into a way that like the designer's not gonna like disengage from the conversation because of like you saying like this thing sucks.
Right.
Like that doesn't do anybody any good.
No.
You can say this thing's bad. You just have to say it eloquently and like in the right way so that the guy or the woman or whoever is responsible for this thing reads it and goes, that's why they don't like it. Not, oh, they're just an asshole and think my shit's bad.
Sure.
The moment you get to that point is when shit's kind of chalked, and that's where we got in Halo 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do hope that I can help pro players this year navigate that shit, because there's some people who just need to like not tweet. But
agreed with that statement. Well, we can leave it. We can leave it at that. Are you in the supposed pro player like
GA
message group? Yeah, are you in there?
No, I'm not. I need a fucking invite.
Yeah,
I comboed Optic tonight. And I was like, am I supposed to do this? Like, I don't know. So yeah, no, I need them to invite me to that. Actually, I've asked like 3 people how I get an invite. None of them know, so I'm gonna ask. I've been focused on scrim, so I wasn't really worrying about it.
It's okay. I think it's still Mangler, drop weapon, and sword. I think those are the 3.
Yeah, I know that Commando and Plasma Pistol were being discussed.
Yeah.
And some teams were, and some teams weren't. GA in it. Yeah, like comboed Trippy, and then like next time I saw him, he like kind of stood still, but I don't think it was intentional. I think it was just a coincidence. I was like, I just pissed him off.
His controller disconnected. You know.
yeah, maybe.
I'm just kidding.
Payback.
That's exactly.
Just in a fucking scrim, so the stakes are low.
To get in your head, you know. Okay. So I don't know if you can speak about this, but since we're talking about like things that you may or may not have had influence in, I'm curious if you're able to talk about this. Is there a reason why flag in Infinite is 5 and not 3 cap? Every fucking game goes to overtime or a tied game. Every single fucking game, unless you get rolled.
1 sec. Let me go check this tweet real quick just to make sure.
Okay.
So, do you follow Zach Boyce on Twitter?
Do I follow who?
Zach Boyce. He's the multiplayer game designer.
Oh, I don't think we do.
So
I'm gonna look him up right now.
Someone tweeted out a clip of them grappling with the flag, like doing like kind of the flag juggle grapple across Argyle. And Zach said on the tweet, giving me battle flashbacks of working out the flag and grapple rules. So I'll leave it at that. It was 5 cap for a reason. His tweet is a big hint as to why it was 5 cap. And then unfortunately, time. Just ran out of time. It ended up being 5 cap. I wish it was 3.
Okay.
But
okay.
Yeah. If you see that tweet and if people hear this and go watch that tweet, I think they'll put 2 and 2 together. I don't think that would get me in trouble talking about that because they fucking tweeted it out. It was hilarious. I responded to him with the Men in Black, like when he comes up with the thing and puts his shades on and the memory wipe, and then the other multiplayer designers said like ha 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 in all caps. So like it's funny at this point to talk about it because I mean there's just a lot of shit we talked about internally and people tried some really crazy shit and we were like, this ain't working, dude. But luckily I think we had a good enough relationship with them where like when we got to a point where we were like, this is fucking not it. They were like, okay, it's not it.
So there was a discussion to have it be 3 caps though.
No, so yeah, it just time. We just like time. It was one of those things that like there was bigger fish to fry.
Sure. And
we just fucking didn't think about it. We were like, oh shit. And also there is this weird like situation that happens where like if you look at the data for flag, I'm pretty sure like there is ranks where it goes to 5 cap almost every time. Okay. So it's like they have to figure out how to balance that.
Yeah.
I personally wish it was 3. Minus Aquarius, I wish Aquarius was 5.
Yep.
There's also like the weird stuff there is like changing the rules for flag depending on the map confuses people. Mm-hmm. So from a viewer standpoint, like you kind of want to have it all be one rule. So Aquarius 3 flag would probably be fine in my mind because not a lot of people even get to 3. Yeah. But then we played Optic and lost 4-3 today. So it's like, what do you do? One of those ones where it's like everyone likes to say how easy it is. It's not easy, and you have to think about all that type of shit. Mm-hmm. And again, it was just one of those ones that we kind of fucked up in all reality. Like, we just flubbed it.
It's okay. I was genuinely curious because we talk about it all the time, and then when Bizarre Flag was removed, we're like, thank fucking Christ that thing is out of there, because that was just, from a viewer perspective,
Argyle.
it was awful. Oh, dude, don't even.
I love Argyle. Though.
Really?
Yeah, so the shotgun removal, and even pros agree now, they took the shotguns out, plays so much better. I fucking love Argyle.
I saw Bound put that tweet out that he said it plays a lot better too. So
yeah, no, so like that's something that 343, like, this is where, like, you can't win as a game developer, right? So they made that choice, and it was really good for the map, but all it did for everybody's, like, psychology is realize, like, now what if we remove it all from the other maps? They're gonna play better too. And it's like, fuck. So now everyone's like pissed off. Like, everyone right now just hates streets. Like, I fucking hate streets. Everybody hates streets. And I don't think I hate the map. I hate the fact that every person I run into has a different fucking gun.
yeah.
Like, I'm getting sentinel beamed by this guy. Okay, I'm getting stalkered by this guy. Okay, I'm getting thrust shotgun by this guy. Okay, this guy's pulse carbine me now. All right, whatever. Fucking now I'm getting spiked across the map. Like, I know that people love to give, like, pro shit of, like, learn the sandbox, and I understand. We do need sandbox representation. It is important that there's multiple guns on the map, but there's such a thing as quantity over quality, and right now the quality is really low, and we need to make sure that we are either lowering the quantity of the bad quality, or we're making sure that the good things are there. So Commando, kind of problematic right now. Wasn't before. Hopefully after Charlotte it goes back to a good state. Stalker is a really hot point of contention right now. It's kind of strong. I mean, it's not kind of strong. It's fucking overpowered. Like, every time you see a Stalker guy, you just get 3'd. And that's something that just happens with FPS games. Time goes on, people get better with things. They become more proficient with things, and they become a problem when they weren't a problem 6 months ago. So yeah, I firmly believe in sandbox representation and making sure that there's multiple guns on the map that are usable, and that it's not a one-gun game, but there is a line, and some maps cross the line.
And for the record, we are talking about, just for people who may not understand, we are talking about, like, the top level play right now.
Yeah. This is like me and my scrims with, there's 12 other pro teams and NA. Like, so that's 48 people. Like, it's less than 50 people. And well, I will say high Onyx matchmaking too. It affects that. So however many people are in high Onyx, I'm not even going to take a shot in the dark at that. But maybe 1,000 people. Like, it's not meant to mean that this is what needs to happen for the entire game. It's just this is where it's at for us right now. So how can we fix it while also still respecting the people that aren't dealing with that issue?
Do you think the change to red racks is going to help, especially on the street situation?
Yeah, so that's a big one. I think ammo reduction is going to be really important to look at too for some stuff. Mm-hmm. I do think we're quickly approaching the Bulldog needing either a retune and or to be shelved and just replaced outright with the Heatwave. Okay. I think the Heatwave is OP, but it at least takes some skill to use with vertical and horizontal and shooting it accurately. And you get the same kind of gameplay loop from the Heatwave that you do from the Bulldog without the pressure that a Bulldog can put on. Or I don't want to say without the pressure. The pressure's still there, but at least the person's accurately hitting their bullets. So there's kind of that psychology of, like, hey, he's hitting good shots. Right. Whereas the Bulldog is quickly hitting range, or the world where it's like, this guy's just spamming it at me and not even really shooting that well. But I know that they said that they're going to look at this stuff with the red racks, the shelving. They're vaulting some of their own stuff. They're going to put some new stuff on it, and they're going to tune some stuff, and they're also going to change the ammo. I think they said ammo, not 100%, but I know the timers. Yeah. So it's at least a good first step. That's why I'm kind of against GAs right now. Like, I think with 343 starting to make the effort to change the things, we needed to not be like assholes. So keep the GAs we already have. That's fine, but let's not go overboard.
All right.
That's fair.
That is very fair. In the Infinite Ranked and Competitive Reveal Waypoint article, you said the following about the BR being the starting weapon. Quote, it's a slower time to kill than a majority of the sandbox and a little bit lower of a skill floor to be more inviting. The skill ceiling, however, was largely due to the delta between itself and the rest of the sandbox, so it's no longer the best weapon on the map at all times, but it's going to be your most important tool to show off your skill and perform well on the map, end quote. We've seen recently some pro players become more and more vocal around the wanting of a precision shot competitive starting weapon over a burst shot weapon. So as a professional player who has competed in titles with both types of starting weapon, which do you prefer? And what would you like to see for the future of Infinite?
So I I do prefer single shotguns.
Okay.
But I'm not in the camp that BR takes no skill. So again, it's not black and white. Everything is like somewhere in the medium or in the middle. Yeah, this is the tough thing with Infinite is that Infinite is supposed to be like kind of a scavenging game. So the weapon that you spawn with can't be the outright best gun. So you need to make it to where it has a lower kill time or like longer kill time than pretty much the rest of the sandbox. And unfortunately, the balance changes lately have been shoving that even further of what everything's getting faster, which, yeah, that's the wrong decision to do. But because it's just making things worse. But the point is that the BR can beat everything if you shoot well, but the things on the map that you can pick up can beat the BR if you shoot well. That was the whole kind of point. And now we're getting to the point where everybody can shoot well. So what happens with that? Everything on the map beats the BR. That's the problem. And yeah, I do prefer single shot. I think the whole conversation of like skill expression is like really hyped up. I prefer single shot because I think the cadence of it and the readability of it is a lot better. But I don't think the BR is bad, and I think the BR has a lot of positives to it. In terms of nostalgia, like nostalgia, you don't want to play on nostalgia, but nostalgia still is an important tool that you can use. People do love BR starts. It does force a more teamwork meta, which we've learned is more inviting to people than the just straight up like solo play skill gap. So yeah, it's just striking a balance there, like, and finding what works. I think Tashi's talked about how, you know, they want to change the meta. They haven't been able to. That's been something I said this back a while ago too. Like, that's one of the biggest problem points in the game, I think, right now is nothing's changed. So like, of course you're bored of it. And if you didn't like it right away, you're really not going to like it now. But a meta shift can change all of that opinion pretty dramatically. But we have to be able to do that. And unfortunately it hasn't been able to.
I know they're both completely separate titles, but Halo 5 pistol or Reach No Bloom No Sprint DMR?
Halo 5 pistol. So Reach No Bloom No Sprint DMR was cool, but it was like a turret. You could just shoot cross map easily.
Yeah, it's like a laser.
Halo 5 pistol at least took like a modicum of skill to shoot cross map. Like, everyone has like revisionist history that they talk about how this thing's like so fucking hard to shoot, and I'm just like, when I left, everybody was 5 and everybody. So I don't know what you're talking about, but
I'm just awful with it.
But yeah, at our level again.
Thank you for the clarification there, because I don't play at that level. I was just awful with it.
Talking about 64 pro players, right? Like that's at that level, that's what that was like. Is it got to the point where it was like we were just trading 5 shots. So did the H5 pistol take skill? Yes. Has every starting weapon in Halo pretty much taken skill? Yes. Now you get into the conversations of like what was on the Spartan, what the meta was, where the skill gap actually came from. I've learned over time, through many years, if people are complaining about the skill gap in the game, it's not that they don't think that it's. They do think this, but what they're actually feeling, I realize, is not that there's no skill gap or that the game isn't skillful enough. It's a skill gap that they don't enjoy, and they just have a tough time like wording that correctly. Because you can look at Infinite and obviously there's a skill gap. You can't argue that, but you might not just enjoy the skill gap. But shit, I mean, there's a fucking skill gap in Uno. So like at the same time, I don't like it, but people figure it out, you know?
This is the first time I've ever heard a comparison between the skill gaps in Halo and Uno, for fuck's sake. Like, wow. All right. Is the skill gap like turning on your Xbox Live camera and having dick pics? Is that the skill gap that you have in Uno?
Dude, Uno was a wild fucking world back in the early, like before 2010. The stories and pictures I would see was fucking insane. I never ventured. I did play Uno like with the cam, but I never got into that fucking world. That world was fucking insane. I would see people do like every once in a while we'd get it and I'd see some dick pics. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Now I'm like 14, 15, but like some of the stuff I've heard about like Netflix watch parties and Uno games, that was a different fucking time.
It was like Omegle on Xbox Live. It's
yes,
insane.
literally, yes. It was the precursor to Omegle.
It's just fucking crazy. Will, I'll let you take the next ones. Go ahead. We're in the Halo section now.
I've lost track.
Not in the dick pic section.
Not in the
Yeah,
dick
we're
pic
not.
section.
We've passed Uno dick pics and we've now transitioned. Yes.
So you weren't able to compete in the first year of competitive Halo Infinite due to working for 343 during the development of the game. When did you know that you wanted to compete once again? And once that decision was ultimately made, was the plan to always play under native gaming?
So I don't know exactly when it happened. I remember starting the conversation with Tashi because the original rule was that like I couldn't play Infinite whatsoever.
Oh, at all.
Yeah,
Ooh.
but that was because it was a pre-existing rule from Halo 5.
Oh.
The difference with Infinite is that it's a live service game, so things are going to change, and there's that whole piece. And I talked to Tashi a lot about it, and we like figured out like what the rules should be, and we got to that point. But yeah, I don't remember the exact date or like timeline. Like, I remember starting to feel it prior to the pandemic, and then we got put on lockdown at home, and I was like, I need to get the fuck out of here. So, you know, personal life, not liking Seattle, plus missing competing, all that type of stuff kind of all led to one. I don't think there was like a single moment where I woke up and was like, I'm fucking competing today. Like that. I don't think that's how it happened. So, and then the original plan was just to do content creation for the year and kind of find myself and just chill and like content create and like relax finally. And then somehow I got linked up with Dean through an email. I had talked to a couple orgs about coming on as a content creator, but his was the most interesting and the most chill deal, because we talked about it, and you know, it was more of like he was paying me as a content creator just to hold me for next year to like guarantee I'd be on the team, which gave me time to actually take a break and relax. So that was really beneficial. So I can't thank him enough for that. But
That's awesome.
yeah, once I signed with him, that was the plan. So since like February-ish last year, it's been about a year. I think the org officially came out in March. So the org's almost a year old. And I signed like late February. I think like February 28th or 27th or something. So like literally the end of February.
That's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
They're on the ground running.
Yeah. I mean, first year, top 3 at Worlds. 2 teams.
Not too shabby.
Going into the next year.
That was one of the biggest questions too. Is
And
like,
we have some other exciting announcements here soon. So
you gonna tease right now, Austin? Come on.
yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
No, that was one of the questions that we had was when you had said like months ago that I am playing for native gaming in the 2023 season. Then the question was, well, what does Native Red do? Like, is it gonna stay Native Red? Are they gonna find another organization to support them? Is Native gonna have 2 teams? And when we saw Native Red just stay and stay and stay and stay, and you saying the same thing, it's like, okay, I guess they're just gonna have 2 teams. And then lo and behold, here we are.
I think it was one of those things like Dean Deranged Native, the owner of Native, was fine with running 2 teams, but if a really good offer came in for my team or even Red's team, he would have probably like thought about it. He really likes the Red guys. He really likes like us. Obviously, he really likes me. So like, he just wants to support Halo and players in any way he can. He's just a big fan of it. So he's an angel. Like, there's plenty of reason to not be here as a non-partnered org, and he still is like, just fucking loves it. So, yeah, plenty of support, like tons of stuff, like pretty much anything I've needed over the last year, it's been done. Tiberius Audley's been our analyst on Native since like, I think March, because I said, let's get Tibby so that he doesn't get stolen by another org. Because I'm a big Tiberius fan. I think he's like the best analyst in the game. And I know a top 3 team like hit him up and said, hey, how much would it cost to get you off Native to do analyst work? And he declined.
That's awesome.
Good thing we did that, because having him is like a very, very valuable asset.
That is awesome. And I really hope that, like, not to sound all doomsday, but like, I really hope that the owner, your guys' relationship, Native in general, sticks with it, because we saw what happened with Ascend. Like, they say that we're here for the long haul. We're gonna do it, and then they fucking leave. And then we've seen teams who don't get partnership and they're like, fuck this. You know, I get it from a business perspective. It's understandable, but like, I do hope, especially with everything that's been going around lately, like I do hope you guys stay, hope all the other non-partnered orgs stay, hope good things come your guys' way from an organization perspective. And yeah,
I'm not as doomer as like most people. Like, I think everyone I know that like understands the esports business like one, the economy is going through what it's going through. So esports orgs are really struggling because they were already struggling to make cash if they even did. Like, I think at best most orgs break even. There's a lot of venture capital that came in and they just kind of spent it willy-nilly, and a lot of shit in the background that like you know about and you're like, okay, this is why this shit's going really bad. So anybody with like a actual understanding understands that like, oh, E United going under business is not because of the HCS, it's because of other things. Like, it sucks, but it's not because of the HCS or their investment in the HCS. G2 leaving sucks for sure, but at the same time, like Dean and I were talking about this at Worlds, and we were talking about like the teams that would like actually be a big loss. The teams like the partners that I felt like did a good job last year were like SSG, Sen, and then other than that, like C9 was doing good, but that's because they're winning. Optic has done good. I don't want to leave out Optic. Optic has done great, obviously. So almost let them out. My bad. But minus those four, and C9, kind of the only reason they were doing well is because their team was winning, in my opinion. Like, Fnatic was fucking coasting. Like, I don't even care if I burn a bridge with them. Like, that, the way that they handled this whole partnership and being in HCS was just fucking awful. Like, it was not a good fit. Losing G2 sucks, but at the same time, like, there's going to be another org that steps in there and takes care of it. Especially for those players, which ended up being us. And, you know, G1 is great. So, like, we have a bunch of good orgs that are staying in it and want to stick through it. It just sucks when, like, you saw those, like, orgs back when, like, all the denials started coming in. They're like, yeah, we're fucking leaving. And then I know stuff in the back, like, behind the scenes, and I'm like, yeah, like, you're trying to make HCS look bad when, like, you're struggling to pay your fucking players. So, like, let's be real here. So, yeah, I put out some tweets about that, I think. And KCP, like, I still like the KCP brand. I think they handled it poorly after a couple tweets. At first, they handled it really well. And then after a couple tweets, I was like, it's getting a little petty now.
We talked about that.
What?
We talked about that.
Did you? Yeah. I get it. You have your business. And, like, I think KCP specifically, like, felt like a lot of hollow promises were given to them, and I can understand why they feel that way. Obviously, I wasn't there for the conversations, and I don't want to stick my nose too much in it, but like losing what they brought for KC and the land before definitely sucks. But again, like, it is what it is to an extent, and yeah, I think all in all, what? So what do we know we have lost for sure? United,
Cloud9, G2, and Fnatic.
Cloud9 is not gone, but
well, we also know that, but like from a partner team perspective, they are gone.
No, they're still a partner team too.
Are they?
They're still in. Yeah.
How come their code isn't able to be used to purchase?
I don't know. So that's the thing that I don't understand. There's some stuff going on there, but I'm pretty sure they're still a partner team, like, because they're staying in.
So we okay. I mean, we're doing this interview, so I mean, you obviously, you know, like, we were told as well that they are fielding a team for Charlotte, and but like when they released the Charlotte ticket information, their code's not there. If you tried using their code, it doesn't work because
really,
in an updated tweet that the HCS account put out or something like that, they included the Cloud9 code in it, and I'm like, wait a second. So I went to the page to try to enter it, and it doesn't work. So
I wonder if there's kind of like a back and forth of like, we don't know if we're staying, we don't know what we're doing type thing. Like, not to get too speculative. It's one of those things, like, again, it's not really my business. I've heard they're staying in. I would assume that they're still partnered if they want to stay in the scene. That's really what it is.
So then it would be G2, Fnatic, and United.
Yeah, so United was doing good too. I don't want to shit on United. Unfortunately, they went under. I think they would have stayed in the HCS if they didn't have to go, like, shut down the org.
Yeah.
But Fnatic, like, they didn't even have a fucking team the first event. So, like, I just have a hard time giving a shit that they left. So, like, United is unfortunate. G2 is unfortunate. But, again, we have G1, we have Native. Like, we have other orgs that I'm hearing possibly want to come in still. So I think we'll be all right. It's not as doomer as most people think.
It's good to hear you say that too, because we always just push forward, and if the org, whether it be because of the HCS or whether it be because of business decisions, if they're not able to stay, then I mean, either depending upon how they went out, either good luck or good riddance to them, and we push forward. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and I mean, I think if you look at like any esports league, like there's turnover.
Yeah.
Like I think even like LCS, like you've seen really good orgs come in and leave. Does that mean the LCS is unhealthy? Like, no, it's just the way that it's business. It's the way it goes. Sometimes you're not in the best position to support this specific thing. And I think a couple of the orgs too, like like this, you have to think about everything, right? Like Valorant just announced like their big franchise league, and a couple of the orgs that were partnered also got into the franchise league. So then they have to go think about like, where do we want to put our time and money? Like a Riot developed game in a franchise league is like, it's tip of the fucking mountain compared to every other thing.
Yep.
Like the only other thing that most orgs will probably put money into over a Riot franchise league is like the international. If they were told like, hey, I can get the top 14 for the international for pennies on the dollar, of course they're gonna do it.
Right.
Then outside that, it's like everything else in esports is just weird. Like we haven't found like a structure that works for esports all up. We haven't found like orgs haven't found like ways to make profit consistently and stuff. It's just awkward. Like it's new. It's still just so new. Like salaries just really started like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And Halo, they started a little bit before that, but
make a really good point there too.
Yeah, it's still a baby.
It really is in the grand scheme of things too.
Yeah, that's the thing that people don't realize is that when I talk about like Halo esports, like it's so old compared to most esports, but it's still only 20 years old. Like think about how old basketball is. Think about how old football is.
True, very
Like,
true. Yeah. Think about how old baseball is.
Yeah,
Like crazy.
It's still only 20 years. Like I say 20 years, it's actually only like 15 for Halo in all reality.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So because we lost like 4 years there too, so maybe it's even only like fucking 12 in all reality. I don't know. It's just so infant, and there's just so much stuff to figure out. There's gonna be turnover. There's gonna be drama. There's gonna be times where like people are freaking out and like it's over. It's all dead. But I mean, I was playing AGLs in Knoxville, Tennessee. Like it can't get worse than that.
I was gonna say, fucking dark days in Halo 4 were dark days.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Will.
If you could summarize the 22 HCS season in one word, what would that word be?
That's last season?
Yeah.
Okay, so weird is the best word for me because I wasn't playing. I wanted to play, but at the same time, I wanted to take a break. But at the same time, I was watching a game that I've been working on the past 3 years be competed on, and I'm watching my best friends play on said game and win money. So it was a very, very weird experience. One that I've never felt. It was exciting, obviously. Like the tournaments were great, but it was a weird. I was like Conan in the meme outside the window, like let me in. Like it was really weird.
Oh,
it's fucking true too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Biggest surprise of the 22 HCS season?
Sentinels having the issues that they did and not being like in every single grand final, I think was really weird. And then Red, in terms of like a team that impressed me with like their potential. Red, team that I was just shocked to see struggling with Sen.
What's your favorite moment from the 22 season?
Gotta be Royalty Snipe on Formal.
Oh, fucking A. Oh, man.
It's gotta be.
Formal was chalked after that moment.
So,
holy shit.
Yeah, so last like interview I did was with Tiberius Audley, and it was before Kansas City, and they said, who finally beat C9? I said, I don't know if they'll be the team to beat C9, but they'll be the team to win a tournament over C9, and it'll be Sen. And then they won the next tournament, and I watched that snipe. I was like, they're gonna fucking do it, dude. Yeah, wild.
Yeah,
those guys just can do that though. Like, even with all the drama and all the bullshit going on, they still pulled it together and were able to win. So like, I mean, Snakebite obviously talked about it a little bit in his video, but they've been a team for like 7 years, and it took 7 years for them to get to this point where like there's some drama and stuff. It was extremely tippable. Like, me and those guys have had some issues in the past, but I have nothing but fucking respect for all of them, like in terms of their play, and it's nuts that they were a team for so long, saw so much success, and it took them like having still won a tournament within the year, but being inconsistent enough that they're like, hey, we gotta kind of hit the refresh button here.
They were if I'm not mistaken, I think they're the longest running roster in all of Halo esports history.
I think they're the longest running roster in esports history. If you go to look at every single esport, I think the only one that might be close is NIP and CSGO, CS Source, maybe Ninjas in Pajamas, but I think they replaced a player. So I think they're the longest tenured roster to ever play.
Mind blowing.
Over years. I think there's teams that played more tournaments than them, obviously, because CS has like a LAN every weekend.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think in terms of like years played together, I think they're the longest tenured roster. Yeah.
That's fucking insane. That's an even crazier stat.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of from my knowledge, I pay attention to a lot of esports. The only thing I can think of was maybe there's a Chinese team or a Korean team I'm not aware of, but in games that I follow and scenes that I follow, like the only thing I can think of is like Ninja in Pajamas with like Get Smart and those guys, but or not Get Smart, Get Right. Get Smart's the fucking movie with Steve Carell. Get Right is his name.
Nice job. Glad you have Steve Carell.
I fucking did it again, dude.
It's great. Go ahead.
Our best is better than your worst.
Do you have like a biggest disappointment of 22 HCS season?
Not really. I mean, Sin, but again, I have a lot of respect for them, but like it didn't like bum me out that they were struggling.
Yeah.
Like, Ola retiring.
Yeah, that was tough.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Especially in the fashion that's happened behind the scenes. It's fucking terrible. Like, I love Ola to death. I know he'll never hear this, but yeah, I just hope he's all right.
We'll make him hear it. I don't know how, but we'll make him hear it.
Always joked about me with me on Envy. We were talking about like what it looked like when we retired, and he said he's gonna fucking disappear. Nobody's ever gonna hear from him again. So he seems to be in. I will say this: Ola is a man of his word.
Oh,
so
before that a roster was announced, before the Envy roster was announced, before the merger between them and Optic, he was never on Twitter or anything. And then as soon as the announcement happened for the roster for the 22 season, he then became incredibly active all of a sudden. Yeah. He was doing some streams and whatnot. And then, yeah, as soon as, I mean, all that shit, but like as soon as all that happened, he just completely went dark once again. So,
yeah, Ola does that. He goes, he came and went a lot when it came to like social media activity and stream activity. I think, I think he was just ready to move on.
Yeah.
And the only way he knew how was to deal in absolutes and just go. Just fucking never look back.
I miss that, man.
Yeah, Ola's great human. Sucks, but
yeah,
as long as he's happy, that's all that matters.
Absolutely. Go ahead. Oh, okay. All right. What would you like to see improve for the 2023 HCS season?
Obviously the break between like the KC and the Super. They've already said they're going to fix that. But other than that, like I didn't really play a whole lot. So from a viewership standpoint, things were really good. Genuinely, like there was obviously like some tournaments taking a while or going late and things of that nature, but that's kind of not, like the business, right? It just happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of play, I didn't play, so like I don't really know what worked and what didn't. So I'm sure I'll figure it out over the next few months. Like I don't even know how these qualifiers or anything work. Like they put it out, all the explanation out there, and I'm like, this is a wordy fucking mess. I'll figure it out when I play in it. Because I think the open qualifier top 8 qualifies for the major qualifier, but
Correct.
It sounds like the major qualifier is an open qualifier in the way they worded it. So I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna fucking play in them. Like
I think the open qualifier seeds for the major qualifier seeds for pools.
Okay, but is major qualifiers an open, or is it just
either like even if it is like you'll still be better seeded if you play within the open into the major. It's even the added explanations after the fact were fucking
they were wordy.
crazy.
I was just like, I'm confused.
Like
When I read it, I was like, whatever, I'll just play. I see these dates, I'll be there.
There you go.
I got it.
Okay, adding on to this, like, do you want to see, like, okay, so you say you like Argyle the way it plays now.
Yeah.
I believe we're happy with Bazaar being removed. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Would you like to see, like, more maps, as in Forge maps, being introduced?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
So go ahead.
It'll never happen. This is a fucking this is a Hail Mary dream, but I would like to see like all the launch maps removed for better Forge maps. So like Plaza, when that comes in, over Streets would be great. Something to replace Livefire would be great. Something to I think we can keep Aquarius, but if even then like Starboard exists right now, if you've played custom browsers at all, Starboard is quite possibly the best map in the fucking game. So
we're gonna have to find that one.
Starboard.
Yeah, it's a midship inspired remake.
Oh, come on.
Everyone loves midship.
God.
It doesn't play like MIDI though. So like it has like the infinite flare where there's like a power up bottom middle and there's like cover and stuff.
Yeah.
But it just has the readability of like MIDI.
Okay.
That could be better than Aquarius. What other maps are in? Having a blank. Livefire, Streets, Argyle, Aquarius. There's one. We're missing one, aren't we? What?
Empyrean is going to be in.
Empyrean, yeah, Pit's in, yeah. I see. I'm a resident Pit hater, but it actually plays all right in this game because it's just one of those things. I fucking hate the Pit. I've always hated the Pit, but this is the thing though. So I do not like Infinite launch maps. I never did.
Okay.
So like Empyrean compared to those, I'll play it any day of the week. 10 out of 10 times, I'll play Empyrean over it. Same thing with Argyle. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of Live. Everyone says Livefire is good. I'm like the biggest Livefire hater.
Wow.
And Streets is actually not bad, but all the weapons on it is making it play really bad.
Sure.
All the pieces of equipment and weapons and everything is just like, holy shit, this is a lot. So yeah, I would love to see like, well, Plaza. They already said Plaza's being remade, and I think Tashi said it was going to go into HCS, right?
I believe. Well, yeah, it's going to be coming in season 3, and I cannot confirm whether or not Tashi said that it'll be included. But I mean, if it plays well, why?
I think I remember him saying that. So, yeah, hopefully we get to that point. I mean, Forge is fucking really good. So
yeah. It's incredible.
I get that you want developer-made maps in because they allocated a lot of time and resources to it, but it's one of those things where if something's better, something's better. Like I'm a little I lack empathy a little bit there in some regards of like if it's just better for comp and plays better and it's more fun to watch. Like I don't really give a shit if like the designer's mad that his map didn't make it in.
Sure. Well, I mean, especially if we're talking about like the top players in the world playing in a niche setting,
Yeah. So like, and I do think that I saw Tashi respond to King J and said that he's responsible for ranked experience now in his playlist, which is really good because he has his finger on the pulse, regardless of what people say about Tashi. He knows what the fuck's going on.
Thank you for saying that because people don't realize it, and they really fucking should.
He makes mistakes. He's a fucking human.
Everybody
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But he knows what's going on, and like he's not perfect, but he's a really fucking good person, and like actually gives a shit about Halo Esports. Soapbox over. And when it comes to like, yeah, like I think he's already kind of said that it's okay for rank to be different than comp.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's frustrating for competitive players, but I'm actually in agreement with him. It is okay for that to be different. Because you don't want to split the playlist too much. You don't want to bifurcate the game too much from one another because you get into a situation where it's like you have one playlist that's populated and another one that's like cannibalizing itself, and it becomes kind of a big problem. I see something. What's going on?
I was going to ask because personally I've been shouting from the fucking rooftops that I want a separate ranked versus HCS playlist in the game.
Yeah. So
I get the population differences. I completely understand that. It's just like if you come out with Argyle and detachment's going to be in ranked, but it's not going to be in the HCS settings. Why? From my perspective, we've had, and I get it. We've had MLG playlists in the past, right? We've had playlists that have been dedicated to what is 1-to-1 with what is being played at the top competitive level. I want that. I just wanted it.
Yeah. So that works when the game is healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem.
Absolutely.
It's one of those things where you have to make the decision based off where you're at and what the reality is. So for now, having some like color and some different types of play and ranked is just going to be more beneficial than splitting them in half.
Sure.
Yeah, hopefully, let's hope over the next year they're able to update the game consistently and breathe some life back into it, and some population numbers are able to come back, and then they can look at like, wait a minute, we can do a ranked skirmish, and we can have in that ranked skirmish we can have detachment and a bunch of other random maps.
Right.
The new and improved behemoth or whatever.
Absolutely.
Stuff like that. Shit. Hey, maybe new and improved behemoth comes back and is actually god tier. We'll see. But
new and improved bazaar as well. You never. I mean, that's not happening. But you know.
Is that salvageable?
Fuck that.
Maybe it might be salvageable. Maybe
know.
most stuff is. But yeah, it's just like one of those things where you have to work around with where you're actually at, and because I agree with you when the game can support it.
Yeah.
But right now the game just can't, so it's one of those things you just have to look at it and be like, fuck, like where do we make a compromise to make things better?
Right.
So that's not to say that you can't like cross a line. If there's like 27 maps in ranked, it's gonna be like, wait, I play on 6 of these, dude. Like what the fuck? Mm-hmm. Like I think it's good to throw stuff in ranked and test it too and get the pulse on it if it's like, because there's been times like, what's a good example? Fathom in Halo 5 was really liked by the players, but data showed that it wasn't fun to watch and players were getting a little bit bored with it, and they removed it from ranked, and then we realized, wait, we should have never done that.
Yeah.
And then it ended up coming back later on in Halo 5's life cycle when I wasn't playing anymore. But same thing with regret, the exact same thing. So, there's times where like you learn that like a map in the moment might not be enjoyed, but if you remove it, you're like, oh, wait a minute, bring it back. It's actually good. And there's times where there's a map that goes in and you might be like kind of lukewarm about it or cold and like, I don't know. And it's actually just really liked by everybody. So you're like, okay, whatever, my opinion doesn't matter anymore. Catalyst is a good example of that. I had no idea that people liked Catalyst so much.
Until it was removed and they're like, wait a second.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yep.
So
well, now
it's one of those things.
It was before Argyle got the Bulldogs removed. It was like I saw a bunch of people saying that they love Catalyst more than Argyle.
Oh yeah, the Reddit was like full of it. I was just like, shit.
No, and then the Bulldogs get removed and they're like, wait, this is the type of change that we want to see. It's something something that appears so small on surface level, but when you remove something at a top level like that, it completely changes the balance of the map.
Yeah, exactly. And it's unfortunate that things are like so hostile about that conversation between like people who like want the game to not be boring and in their mind, yeah, that whole social media piece. But I think that kind of proved it of like, hey, like it's okay to remove a shotgun. It actually makes things play better. Like it's just understanding where a shotgun fits, like, or like where a commando fits, or just where a plasma pistol fits. Like it goes for all weapons. Like you have to curate the experience based off of the map. Like I think Halo 2, right? Like a shotgun on lockout was probably shit, but there's a sword. So it's actually a good thing to have the shotgun because the sword is far more powerful than it. So it's just stuff like that you need to figure out. And unfortunately, there just hasn't been any movement the last year. So there's that whole piece of like people are bored and pissed and annoyed and every negative emotion possible. And because that's what happens with the games over time, people feel every negative emotion towards it.
Right. Well, at least we finally got melee trading with swords now, so that's a plus. A very big positive.
And yeah,
Christ.
They do that, and then the swords get evolved.
Yeah. We take the wins when we can get them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then whatever. When the fucking Shroud screen comes out in season 3. That's going to be in competitive. We've already known that. Are you in favor of more or less equipment? I know we haven't played with shout screen yet, so we don't know, but
yeah. Well, for one, I've been like I know I'm in the minority with this too, but I'm like a huge proponent of smoke grenades in any shooter. I think that they're fucking huge in terms of skill gap and stuff. So I'm down. Like I'm super interested to see how that kind of works because it's kind of a hollow one, so you can kind of play the edge of it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the equipment question is interesting. So it just depends. Again, it goes back to kind of the weapons, curate the experience for it, right? Like I think you could get away with like on some maps, like I'm trying to think. So pretty much everything has 2, except for Argyle, which has 2 grapples and then a repulsor about a middle.
Yeah.
Well, why does that feel okay? Map's a little bit bigger. Repulsor doesn't really have like locations that you can knock people off the map very consistently. It's more so to traverse around the map, which is vertical.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually makes it okay. But if there was 2 repulsors on live fire plus the drop wall, this is probably too crazy. So yeah, it's never easy. It's a multifaceted answer.
No, I appreciate the answer regardless.
Yeah, because it depends on the map, right? Like, and then you look at Pit, like there's a drop wall and repulsor, and they don't really get much usage. The repulsor does, the wall doesn't. But I think if you put 2 walls in each mauler, that's a huge problem. So it's probably okay that there's only 2 neutral. So yeah, I do think that equipment is kind of the thing that separates Infinite from other past Halo experiences. So it's important to have it on the map. But you just can't go overboard. Like there's 2 grapples on Argyle, and people don't think that's overboard. Well, some people do, but most people are actually okay with it.
Sure.
So yeah.
All right.
Both.
And then do you want more or replaced power weapons, aka like tier 3 weapons?
Okay, so just for definition's sake, are you talking about gold pad or like
I'm talking
stalker shock?
I'm talking rockets,
shoddy.
sniper, that.
If there's an option for a good gold pad weapon, I would love to see it come in, but there's not right now because the cinder shot would be kind of crazy.
Oh, fucking insane.
Yeah, I'm actually in the camp that I think you can elevate some stuff to gold pad right now. Shock rifle can absolutely be elevated to gold pad.
Yeah.
But there's the whole piece that people love it, and you can use it a lot in BTB, so it's hard to do that. I get that. Again, never easy. There's some stuff that you could elevate, but currently I would say no.
Okay.
There's nothing that you should add because the only other option is cinder shot or skewer again, and I'm not a skewer fan. Like it gives you the story of a sniper, but at the power curve of a fucking like shotgun. like a bad shotgun.
Yeah.
So there's not enough of a swing from it because, again, contrary to popular belief, the gold pad doesn't need to be able to swing the game.
Yeah.
That's a huge piece. You need to make sure that's a possibility. Skewer does not have that possibility really, and unless you're in a stalemate, then you're in a stalemate is actually really interesting. But is that interesting enough? No. What else is interesting and causes a power swing in a stalemate? A sniper. So. Let's not complicate this. Yeah, cinder shot I would love to see, but it's just too problematic. It breaks your game. You just get desynced everywhere when you get hit by it. Does too much damage. It's too oppressive.
Well, would you like to see a power weapon from a different Halo game make its appearance?
Railgun.
Which one?
I don't even think you have to like pull a certain one from a certain game. I think the identity of a railgun is actually really cool.
Okay.
It's a ranged or up close one hit gun that has a charge time with a loud audio cue plus a visual flare. I think it fits modern game design really well in the sense of like it's very readable when you're going to get hit by it. It's very readable what it does, but it actually has skill expression. Obviously, you can't make it too easy, which we've seen happen, and then we've seen it be too hard, and we've seen it be somewhere in the middle at times. If you brought the Halo 5 one, it'd be too easy because that was designed with thrust in mind, right?
Yeah.
If you brought the Halo 4 one in mind, and that one could be kind of a problem because it didn't really feel that good to use.
Correct. So
finding the balance there would be really important. But yeah, railgun, I think railgun or grenade launcher, but every time they bring back the grenade launcher, they fuck it up and it's too strong. So They didn't. They don't. That gun was like right place, right time, and whoever designed that thing like hit the magic spot with it. And I don't think it was like necessarily on purpose. I think they did it right, but I don't know how much intentionality was behind that. Like I think they just were like designing like a cool close quarters grenade launcher with a time and release trigger, and they were testing it for Destiny. So like that's really what it was.
And they had the best like thunk sound ever when you're like fucking.
Well, and the thing that really made the grenade launcher like scream or like really made it special in my opinion was the fact that the HUD on it would pop up with a star when it was near an enemy.
Yeah.
So it actually made it to where like you could do like pop shots like around a corner and be like look at it and like blow a guy up and maybe kill him. But every single one that they brought back since just fucking it's a nuclear cannon. Like that thing gets near you and you die. A lot of grenade launcher shots like made people one shot in reach. There's very few people that could get one shots consistently. It was like Richie Hines, Assault, Ninja. That's really it. Like there's like 3 players that actually got like consistent one shots with the grenade launcher, and then other than that, it was like a lot of people used it as like just a one like break your shields.
God,
but the Halo 5 one got anywhere near you and you die instantly.
Yeah. Also, thanks Warzone for that. So my last piece here before we get into some rapid fire questions. As a professional player, how are you receiving information around tournaments, including format, etc.? Are you finding out at the same time as everyone else is in like a Waypoint post or an HCS tweet, or are you getting information ahead of time to provide feedback?
So I'm not like directly given the information. I can ask for it though.
Okay.
And I will probably be given it if they can. Like they're not going to tell me anything that they can't say, but like an example of one is I needed to know what the player hotel was because I needed to. Me and the org were going to book some extra rooms because people have their girlfriends and stuff and the org wants to come in. So I just texted him and said, hey, what's the player hotel? The one specifically for players.
Right.
They give you the hotel list, but I know which one they're putting the players and everybody in.
Right.
So yeah, I can ask for that information and get it. But most of the time, like for formatting and stuff, like, yeah, you find that out around the same time. Not always though. It just depends.
Are you being told by anybody like within the organization that something has come out, or like, does somebody have to like fucking just tell you, hey, there's a Waypoint article out now?
So I have a pretty good like pulse on that. So I'm usually the one telling people that it's out.
Okay.
Yeah. I stay off social media in the sense that I don't really tweet, like physically tweet, but I read a lot of Twitter still. I just try not to like read shit about me or read shit about like Halo or that type of stuff. I just try to like NBA Twitter. I love NBA Twitter. And just like I usually look at my trends and then I'll like go to I follow like Halo esports.
Yeah.
So I'll go to that and I'll see like the trend, not necessarily the account, and I'll see like all Halo esports news. And usually if I miss the Waypoint, it's by like a couple hours.
Awesome. Or you could just listen to our show, because we do all the news and everything.
You only get me every week, though.
It's true. It's true. What would anybody have to say negative about you online, though? Like, that's what I want to. I know you don't look, but like who the fuck is saying something negative about Mikwen online? Like that's what I genuinely want to know.
There's a lot of people.
Fucking idiots is what they are.
Okay, I don't want to say a lot of people. Brains are weird, and they always like to look at negative things over the positive things.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
So for every, like, I don't want to say like too much and make it seem like I'm fucking awesome or anything, but like, like there's a few people. They're repeating, like it's the repeated person, like it's the same it's the same person.
Sure.
Or like not all one person, but it's the same people, and there's probably like 10 of them, maybe. I don't know, but I just always got some negative shit to say. And I'm the type of person that just like claps back because I don't know. I don't know why I entertain it. I've never understood, but yeah, I'll have like a Twitch chat up and I'll just see red, like because your name, and it's because my thing used to be Mikwin, so people would say Mikwin and it wouldn't show up.
Oh,
right.
Okay, yeah.
But now I switched it to Mikwin, so I'll be sitting here like playing a game or like watching a show or something, or just like chilling, talking to friends, and I'll have a stream up in the chat, and I'll just see red start popping up. And it's just always like 4 or 5 people in Twitch that just have some negative ass shit to say, and I always got to talk shit to them. But yeah, I don't know. There's a few people.
People love to hate, man. It's crazy.
That's exactly what it is.
Unbelievable. All right. You ready for some rapid fire questions that never actually end up being rapid fire?
Never go rapid fire, but we're gonna try.
I'll try to break it for you.
All right. Good luck to you. Favorite food?
Sushi.
Oh, that's good. Favorite movie?
The Girl Next Door.
I thought you were going to say the same Steve Carell movie that you jokingly mentioned earlier.
It's smart.
Favorite musical artist or group?
Lex on Fire.
Okay. Favorite sport and team?
NFL Dallas Cowboys.
Fuck off. Oh,
I'm sorry.
Man. It's okay. Hey, you must be happy that Complexity is a partnered organization now, though.
Yeah, no, it is really sick. I'm not a delusional Cowboys fan, though.
Good.
So I just grew up on the Aikman era because my dad.
So you weren't saying like week 6 or week 7 when fucking who the fuck was your backup quarterback who won 4 or 5 in a row?
Rush.
Yeah, were you saying we're going to the Super Bowl? No. Okay, good.
I was arguing with my dad, and he's like, dude, if we play the Niners and we might beat them, I was like, there's not a world where we beat the fucking Niners. No. Like,
sorry.
I knew, but also I'm pretty smart when it comes to NFL. So like an example is I knew Kirk Cousin.
Yeah.
Yes, we knew too. One and done, baby. One and done. I called that shit since week 5.
We're sticking with him too. All the reports is we're keeping them.
So we're in Minnesota, like obviously. If you didn't already,
he got those 3 yards though, and it was a completion, so he looks good.
Yeah.
I was a firm believer and here's rapid fire not being rapid fire, my fault.
Always his fault.
It's always my fault. I fucking said, and I knew he wouldn't take us very far, but the point was I didn't need him to take us very far. We should have just stuck with fucking Case Keenum and not have signed Kirk. And then if we tanked, if we did terribly, we would have had a better draft position. Could have maybe gotten a quarterback.
That's been the problem with the Vikings too for so long. They're either like they're just so mediocre that they've never gotten good draft picks.
I hate this.
Well, this year, like they were actually like good.
No, Austin, we weren't. We were winning 1-score games that we shouldn't have been winning. The Bills just annihilated themselves.
Our offense was able to put up points.
Yes.
Our defense, 31st or 2nd in the league? Like, you can't stop anyone, you're done for.
Hey, greatest comeback of all time, though.
Against the fucking Colts, which are one of the worst teams in the league, when Jeff Saturday was an ESPN analyst before he was a coach. Oh, yeah. Great stat. Kirk Cousins fucking jersey in the fucking NFL fucking like museum or something.
It's another Kirk Cousins stat pad, dude.
Yeah. I hate it so much, man. I hate it. Like, it's mind-numbingly painful. As somebody who, and I will knows this.
Got him going.
I know. As somebody who did not pay much attention to the NFL until like 3 or 4 years ago, I'd say is when I really got into it. So like you had like you grew up with the highs and the lows of the Vikings team. You knew what to expect.
Oh yeah.
Right. So like me, I was naive to it all, and then I finally understood, and I'm like, Kirk was never gonna be the guy.
Never that guy. It's the same thing with Dak. So,
and I'm so sorry too, because like Dak, he has flashes of brilliance, and then it's just it is what it is.
He's just not it, unfortunately.
Man, it's unfortunate. All right, favorite Halo game of all time?
Halo 2.
Really?
Yeah. That's my favorite video game of all time.
Okay, let's back up. In that ESPN interview that you did a long time ago when you were hanging up the sticks the first time, didn't you mention how you hated Halo 2 in the beginning?
Halo 3. So that's 3. The Halo 2 thing was what I was talking about with my dad.
Okay.
I played the game on BTB.
Yes.
And then went and played Warcraft 3. So technically the answer was yes. Like I kind of did like dislike it at first, but that's because I was so addicted to Warcraft 3. What's up?
Because of BTB, right? And then you learn that 4 is
working. I think so. Okay. I think that's part of what it was, and I also just like wanted to play like Warcraft 3 malls, like tower defense games.
Awesome. So okay, I already know the answer to this fucking question, but I keep it in rapid fire every time, just hoping somebody answers differently, knowing it's never gonna happen. Worst Halo game of all time?
Halo 4.
Oh yeah, there it is. Fucking fuck me, you know. God. Best place for food in Battle Creek, Michigan.
There isn't one.
Come on, there's got to be something like a comfort food of some kind. A comfort restaurant that you went to.
Nah, dude, that town's decimated because of
Oh.
Kellogg's and Post pulling their plants out like
Oh,
10, 15
no.
years ago. Yeah, my hometown is like really fucked.
So then I
guess it would be the casino, the fucking casino that's not even in Battle Creek. It's like 10 minutes out.
Close
But
enough.
like in
switch
terms
my
of like
question to
food,
Georgia.
like you got Taco Bell, you got Arby's, you got McDonald's.
Hey, we stand
you
Taco
got,
Bell here. You know.
You got gas station food.
Are we talking a
trying
Quick
to
Trip or a
think.
Casey's right now? Like, what are we talking about?
The gas station food?
Yeah.
It's this thing called Johnny's. It's Shell.
Oh, okay.
It's
I've never
not
heard
good.
of Johnny's.
It's not good. Yeah, no, it's not good.
All right, whatever.
I'm trying really hard to think. I was just there. Okay, so I was just there. There is this local, like, I keep fucking Mango. It's called Mango. It's Mexican food, but it's like healthy because my girlfriend's vegan, sort of, pretty much vegan. She likes
put her on
queso. She
blast
likes
right
queso
there?
a lot.
Okay.
She has a soft spot for queso, but
Who doesn't? I can't blame her.
so that place. But other than that, like, there's a bunch of shit there, so nothing.
What
Like,
about-
genuinely nothing?
What about where you currently are? Because you're in Georgia, correct?
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta. So, oh, dude, where I'm at? Shit. I'm right next to Koreatown, like the Korean area too,
Okay.
and where I'm at is super Hispanic, so there's really good Hispanic food. Like I have this place like right down the street from me that's like a Mexican mall, and then down the street you can go get Korean food and like Thai food and stuff.
man.
So, ooh, best food.
Definitely took a step up, is what we're saying.
Yeah, yeah. Huge step. I mean, there's like a ton of food. Like,
Do you have a favorite
shit.
sushi spot near you?
Down here it closed actually
Oh,
during the
fuck.
pandemic. So, there was this place. See, this is the thing. I'm not good with names down here, but there is a sushi place fairly close to us that's pretty good, and we went last year for my birthday. So that's why I'll say that place.
Awesome. There we go. We
I
got
can't
there.
think of the name though.
It's okay. Oh man, what's your favorite video game of all time?
Hill 2,
Oh, yeah, you already fucking said that. What's your least favorite video game of all time?
Hill 4.
You fuck off, man.
yes.
Come on. There are worse games out there. Jesus Christ. Seriously?
I play a lot of video games too, so there's actually probably something worse.
Yeah,
but
and you just fuck. Oh,
Halo-
Halo 4.
This is the thing though. Is Halo 4 like let me down in every way?
I let
Like,
down everybody.
I
in
don't
every way.
actually. No, Atlas. Atlas is my least favorite video game experience of all time.
Okay.
Because that game looked like it was going to be the sickest fucking game of all time. If you ever get some time, YouTube Atlas. Here, I will literally post it in this Discord chat so you guys can watch it. Because
up.
it's the funniest shit in the world.
Oh, that's the dinosaur one, isn't it?
That's Ark. Atlas was the pirate one.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
And
that.
there's the video of the trailer versus the reality. Yeah, me and Ghost Ayami rubber banded on a raft for 7 hours straight to get out of the zone. We got out of the zone and stopped rubber banding because there was not that many people. Like, 'cause it was lagging so bad because so many people were in one zone, right?
Yeah.
We get out of the zone. We raft for like 5 minutes to find like an island to build on, and they take the servers down and turn our zone that we just got to into another spawn zone. So guess what? We rubber banded for another 10 hours out of that zone.
Oh,
So my first
fuck.
like 20 hours of that game was just me sitting on a raft going backwards and forward over and over again with sharks like coming up out of the water. Like it was it was a fucking disaster.
Oh.
I gave that game a fair stroke though. I played 200 hours in that game.
What?
And the thing that finally made me quit was a Chinese mega clan showed up and it was so fucking laggy that we couldn't do anything, and they raided our base, and I was just like, I'm not playing this game anymore. But yeah, that's
What the fuck
That
kind of
game is
patience
the
do you
biggest-
have to do
What?
that for? What kind of fucking patience do you have to do it for 7 hours, then 10 hours to be like, oh man, this is. At least I gotta build something first.
So, like, some of my favorite experiences ever are on Ark, like with a lot of my friends. So
Yeah.
I think we were just like holding on to hope
Sure.
that like we'd have an Ark experience, and we just didn't. Like, dude, we finally like built our ship, right?
Yeah.
And you had to put like the dock down, like because it was like building. You had to put
Yep.
it down, and you could only put it down where it was green. So we're like, okay, cool. So we build the ship, and when you build the ship, it drops it down into the dock, right?
Okay.
We build the ship, drop it down into the dock, and the back end of it hits the sand, and it blows up the ship.
Oh fuck.
And this is like 4 hours of work. Like we finally have a boat.
Holy shit.
And it's a pirate game. Like the whole point is to be on a fucking boat. And yeah, it let us build the dock somewhere and then so I was like, okay, we need to destroy that. So we destroyed the dock and move it up and put it like super deep in the water.
Yeah.
And then it was fine. But yeah, it's just some depressing ass moments.
Our fucking that game walked so Sea of Thieves could run. Okay. What's your control scheme right now for Infinite?
Recon. I play Recon in every game.
Okay. I'm a bumper jumper guy myself.
Yeah, claw, no paddles.
You claw?
Yeah.
Does your hand not hurt? Like after how many years you fucking done this now?
No, the thing that actually started giving me problems with mouse and keyboard games.
Oh shit.
I started pinching my ulnar nerve a little bit.
Wow. All right. I respect the grind there. And then what controller are you using to play Infinite right now?
A default red one.
You and I think Lucid also plays with the default controller.
Yeah, so does tapping buttons. So does a couple other people with defaults.
That's awesome. Claw, no paddles, default controller. Look at you.
All natural, dude.
Man, just fucking really proving your age right there. So, who's an unknown player you expect to do big things in Infinite?
I don't really know, to be honest. Again, another thing I'll put my finger on that pulse as I start to get back into it more. It's only week 1 still, but
sure.
I was really high on Vetra, but he's known, right?
Right.
I think Carmea is going to kind of turn some people's heads. I was playing with them, but wasn't the right fit. But I think Jason, I like Jason a lot. I think he's really talented. So
awesome.
Not unknown though.
Well, I mean,
in terms of unknown,
we'll say up and comer.
Yeah, up and comer. I would probably say Carmea is going to surprise people.
Awesome. And then last 3 that I have. Favorite Halo player of all time?
Walshy. I'm from Michigan. Has to be Walsh.
Hey, it's okay. I mean, he's one of the greatest of all time too. So, favorite Halo team of all time?
That I followed?
Yeah, just your favorite.
Final boss.
Which one?
Strong side iteration.
Okay. And then your favorite Halo event of all time?
Shit, I've been to like 56 tournaments.
That's why it's fun.
I'm trying to think which one I had a lot of fun at. Atlanta 2017. Yeah, Atlanta 2017. That's where I met my girlfriend. So.
Oh, okay. I was just about to ask any specific reason why. That makes sense. Look at you. First, you throw her under the bus of being partly vegan, and then you're like, you build yourself back up. You're like, well, I met my girlfriend at this event, so you know.
Yeah.
Good job.
Atlanta 2017. That was a fun event.
Well, Austin, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
Well.
And last question I have: what are you up to? Where can people find you?
I am scrimming. Where can people find me? Not really. Twitter, twitter.com/Mikwin, twitch.tv/Mikwin. But I'm not going to really be posting too much to either of those until the team is in a position of where we need to be. So I'm going to go ghost. I'm going to go rogue a little bit. Ooh. You'll see me at the tournaments. That's really it. Yeah, head down right now. So
he's in the trenches.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely in the trenches.
Ladies and gentlemen, Austin, thanks again for taking the time to chat with us. It's really greatly appreciated. I've been looking forward to doing something like this with you for a very, very long time, and I'm glad we finally had the opportunity to do so.
Likewise.
Thank you. And guys, find Austin at the events. Go say hi to him. He's super nice. He's one of the chillest people you ever meet, and he eats, breathes, and shits this scene like we do. He loves it. Go talk to him, and go buy his merch. I think was it Mikwin.net? Is that the website?
Yeah, Mikwin.net.
Yeah, go buy his merch. That's what I got. Also, wait.
Runs a little small though.
They do.
I found that out. Yeah.
I found that out too. Thank you.
Yeah, they run a little small. So go one size up.
Do it. I guess I do have one final question. And I know that Native isn't partnered, but is there a rule that you have to be a partnered organization to have a booth at an event?
Yeah, I think so.
Fuck. All right. I guess I have to buy my native merch online. Buy your native gaming merch online.
And I just got the whole bag of it back here.
You're wearing one of them right now.
I am wearing the hoodie. The hoodie's really nice. I have the pants on too. But...
Oh, look at you. Look at you. Okay, I'll ask you since you're wearing the hoodie, because I was literally going to buy one right before we did this. How's the fit? True to size?
So I got a large, and it's. Sorry, bud. I just kicked my cat.
Oh no! Animal abuse. How tall are you?
Large. 6'1". I weigh 190. So.
Okay.
For reference, and this is a large, so it fits really well. It's a little long, but I also have weird body. I have a really big torso.
Lanky boys.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys watch the YouTube version of this, then you'll see that Mikwin was able to model for us briefly there. All right. I fucking carried this on long enough. Austin, thanks again. Really appreciated. Can't wait to see what you and the Native White team do this year. And again, thanks for taking the time.
Of course. Likewise.